All right, so let's start. A very good afternoon once again. So we are here to give you an orientation or to take you through the complete revision of Karnataka history in a very short duration, considering that we have our exam in the near future. Haudalva? Right? So there was a very great surprise by the commission that the time given between the notification and the date of the examination is comparatively very small, of a very short duration. So yes. So what am I going to do? What is the takeaway from this session that I am going to take over here is I will tell you the important areas that needs to be focused upon, that needs to be focused for the upcoming examination, and I am definitely going to take you through the entire history and I'll try my level best to give you an analytical understanding. And of course, considering that history, many of you might consider this subject as a factual subject, consisting of many battles and dates, and we'll try to prove that that's not what is the case. All right. So let's very quickly begin with the timeline of whatever the requirement for the KPSC examination is what we have. All right, the history, or let me simply consider this to be the syllabus. All right. What is the syllabus that needs to be prepared? Obviously, we have seen questions ranging from the prehistoric times, prehistoric Karnataka, all right. And also let me before proceeding any further, let me tell you that the objective of the examination, the civil services examination, is not to test your memory. Please, right, have that thing very clear in your mind. It's definitely not to test your memory. It's definitely to test, it's for sure, it is to test how is or to what extent are you capable of analyzing the information. So what we call that is to be the analytical capability. All right. There is a very widespread argument that is history required for a bureaucrat? Yes, many people have told me this. Why is that? What is the purpose of studying history in the civil service examination or for bureaucracy? If we have to know, if we are required, or if there is a necessity for us to know about whatever has happened in the past, can't a bureaucrat just take out the book, go through the information, whatever has happened? And what is the relevance of it? Something that has happened quite a few years ago, how is it going to be relevant in the present context for a bureaucrat, right? So please try to understand, studying about history, no matter which part of the history, which discipline, ancient, medieval, modern, world, right, Indian history, you right, are studying, no matter which history is purely included in the civil services examination of whatever nature, whatever capability you are writing. It's largely to analyze your past to make your future better. Learn from your mistakes is what we must have constantly heard about it. We make mistakes. Making repeated mistakes definitely will cost us dearly, isn't it? Right? So basically, it is to analyze our past to make our future better. Of course, how is a bureaucrat going to make our future better? The future of the people better by framing policies, isn't it? So this policy is what is the objective of a bureaucrat, right? The policy formulation is the main objective of the bureaucracy, isn't it? Which we are probably aspiring for. So this policies will have no doubt a political dimension to it, will no doubt have an economic dimension to it, and will definitely have a societal dimension or social dimension to it. Taking the broader dimensions, there are multiple more dimensions to it. And considering these dimensions do not have no instant origin. Please try to understand that. They have been shaping up, these factors have been shaping up constant, contributions, influences have been made by multiple different aspects. It might be different dynasties, kingdoms agirbodu, influences agirbodu. Are you understanding this? It's not something that has happened overnight. So if you have to understand our society better, you need to have an evolutionary approach. That is what is the requirement. I am very sure the commission is not going to ask you about what is the date of a battle. This battle has been fought on which date? That is something that you cannot expect. Here, please don't blame me, right? There are always certain, tendencies to make certain questions difficult. And again, considering that we do not require, 400 out of 400 marks, that is going to, that is what it is. The question paper is of. We do not require all that 400 marks, right? So we can compromise certain things, but I'm sure it is not going to be such a case because the objective is very clear. They do not want people with a very strong memory. Correct, Alva? Otherwise, there would have been so much things to by heart. And as per me, considering that, the fact that I am in this field for a long period now, I have never come across a dimension in your examination that relies solely on memory. Memory might be an aspect, but memory is not the requirement. So history, please, if you have that understanding, if you have that barrier, history is not my cup of tea. History is very difficult. Let me neglect the syllabus and go to the examination. Please, that is not going to work out. With my experience, let me tell you, let me be very clear with this. Neglecting any aspect of the examination, any subject, any topic of the examination might cost you dear, may or may not, but it has the potential to cost. It has the potential to create a loss there. Please don't neglect that, right? So, with that an understanding, let me proceed further. In this class, in this session, the key takeaway is that we are going to analyze the political and socio-economic dimensions, right, across time. I may not be going into too much of factual information, which again is not required. And considering the time duration, I expect you also not to go into that. So, prehistoric Karnataka. Of course, we are restricting ourselves to Karnataka, the dimension of Karnataka alone. So, prehistoric Karnataka followed by the early history of Karnataka. Followed by, just quickly, let me take down the syllabus. What is that to expect in this class? Let me just quickly. Right. Then one of the earliest empires, the first prominent empire truly of the Kannada region is the Satavahanas. Isn't it? Have you heard about all these? Yes. So probably timelines, I'm not going to add dates, don't worry. It is not that necessity that you have to remember the dates, but a sequence. In the manner in which it has been happening, that is the sequence that you definitely have to remember, right? The Chutus, let me put it in one single frame, that would be good, right? The Kadambas, the Gangas, the Chalukyas of Badami, all right? The Rashtrakutas, right? Chalukyas of Kalyani, the Kalachuris, all right? Followed by the Hoysalas, all right, followed by the Hoysalas, then the Vijayanagaras, the Vijayanagara Empire, followed by the decline of the Vijayanagara and the rise of the Deccan Sultanate. Then, yes, the Bahamanis and the descendants of the Bahamanis, right? I'm clubbing them as the Deccan Sultanate, followed by the Wadayars. Before that, the Nayaks, the Nayakas of Chitradurga, the Nayak of Keladi and whatnot, right? And lastly, the Wadayars. All right, so this is going to be the sequence. Very quickly, I'm going to give you an analytical understanding about the same. All right. Let's start with the prehistoric Karnataka. As far as the examination is concerned, let me put forward the areas the focal areas. As far as examination is concerned, as far as your preliminary examination is concerned, please understand the nature of questions that you can expect. First and foremost, area to be focused upon are the personalities, right? Who are these personalities? Probably someone who has discovered something, and in the recent times when I've been doing too much of research on the the examiner psychology, that means whatever has been the manner in which they are trying to frame the questions, the areas that they have been picking up, and the dimensions in which they have been thinking, I have started I have begun to respect the examiner more and more, because KPSC earlier did not follow a strategy of linking it too much to the current affairs, and in the recent pattern that I have seen, they have stepped up the game to a very greater extent. Personalities, even history is generally considered to be a very static subject. Current affairs ಯಾರು connect ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, current affairs ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Right? What if I say that probably they have been searching for it, the areas, and whatever is the relevance, contemporary relevance ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, for example, some museums have been inaugurated, so the personalities behind that has been expected in the last examination. So there is also to certain extent a current orientation. Probably you can take it in this way, that it is the areas, the focal areas will be areas of current importance. Anything substantial that has been happening in the research field, anything substantial that has been happening in the academic discipline of history, probably that would have been in our newspapers, that have been into the issues, that have been into the talks, into the debates and whatnot, and definitely they are going to focus on it. So you will have to focus on this dimension, right? So the prominent personalities. Second thing that you have to focus upon as far as preliminary examination is concerned is your events. And history is all about events, right? That's not what I mean. The events that have certain uniqueness, very unique events, right? For example, at the KPSC level, it is very safe to assume that things like who have discovered this first, which of the following is the oldest, which of the following is the earliest, the first thing and the last thing, or something like that, right? A prominent events, right? And decisive battles, not all the battles, decisive battles. What are these decisive battles? That battles that have completely transformed the nature, completely transformed the political, economic and social situation of the state. For example, in the last examination, there was a question linking Hyder Ali and Madhukari the fifth. Are you aware about the previous year questions? Yes or no? Right? If you have gone through, you will understand that that was an event that completely transformed the state of Mysore, that added to a lot of territories to the state of Mysore. Do you understand this? So completely, especially of course, we are confining ourselves to Karnataka, not that of history of the number of princely states, the number of monarchs. Other than that, no doubt, art and culture. For example, see, any, just asking if you are aware about this or no. Any recent developments regarding art and culture of Karnataka that you know about? Short question that is. Take it from me. Short question that is. Because especially if it is concerning the state of Karnataka, forget about the art and culture of India perspective in the bit-bidi. Karnataka perspective, for sure, any development, it will be in your papers. That is how the examiner is going to search and add for the questions, all right? And I don't know, but to what extent this would be impacting, But there is a new member added to the KPSC. Are you aware about it? Yeah. Those are all loose talks. Those are all, wild guesses and whatnot. After the appointment letter was public, right? After she was appointed, her background was checked. What is she a background? Professor in? ಯಾವ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್? ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಹೊಸ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಮೆಂಬರನ್ನು ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಎಬ್ಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಲ್ಲಿ. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. That is not how it works out. But just saying, right? So, some interesting talks that comes up in the market, some interesting debates. ಜನರಿಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನಿರಲ್ಲ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ಯೋಚನೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಅನಾಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಕೆಪಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. That's all. Needless to say. All right? And economy. The economy. Because ultimate objective is growth and economic development that we are connecting, right? The economy. Let me take you through. This is the focal area, what I am going to focus upon. So let's start with this. Let's start with what we call it as the prehistoric period of Karnataka. What do you mean by the prehistoric period? Very quickly. Yes? Before? No written sources. Okay. Prehistory. Prehistoric period is that period, of course, where there is no written source of information. Now this is the base that we are trying to carry out from here. If there is no written source of information, then how do we know about them? Archaeological sources. Okay, the sources of information. Forgot to tell you, sources of information is one category, focal area. Let it be literature, let it be coins, let it be inscriptions, right? So that's also a focal area. Considering the new member is from a history background, right? Do you think she'll have an influence on the question paper? It's all loose talks again, right? People start checking the backgrounds of all the members then. Oh, he's from agriculture, he's from this, he's from that and what not, right? ಹಾಗಾದರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಸ್ ಯು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್? ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವಾಟ್ ಡು ಯು ಮೀನ್ ಬೈ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್? This includes tools, largely the tools and implements that have been excavated, right? Tools and implements. And mind it, the prehistoric age gives us a lot of information about the manner in which we were existing back then and how we have transformed till now, right? Which can be traced through the classification of the prehistoric into what? The Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and the Neolithic age. Yes. What is that we are tracing? We are tracing primarily the tools and the implements that has been utilized in this era. And accordingly, we are going to arrive in conclusion that what were their lifestyle. What was their lifestyle anta helbiಟ್ಟು. Correct alva? Because we do not have any direct written source of information. Other than that, other than archaeological sources, art. If there is no written source of information, they mind it, there will be no inscriptions also here. Inscription is something that you inscribed on. Correct alva? Art. And what is the primitive most form of art? Primitive times ivella. Paintings. Something that has lasted. Yes. Implements. Pottery comes in. Yes, it's a form of art. No doubt about it. Pottery antanu tagobodu. There's no doubt about it. Just asking. What do you mean by Paleolithic? Paleo means old. Lithic, something associated with the lithosphere, the stone. So what is that giving us an idea about? Paleolithic is giving us an idea about that. The people depended upon which tool? Stone tools. Then what is the nature in Paleolithic era? Please try to understand, right? This is a series of economic development, stages of economic development that has been transforming. The primitive of the primitive, most economic activity that a human is associated with would be hunting and gathering. Correct alva? ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. There is no possibility of any economic activity. What would man do? Start hunting, start gathering whatever is available. Are you understanding that? For hunting and gathering, the primitive man back then require tools, stone tools. Paleolithic era is that era where the tools, the stone tools that was being utilized by the primitive human was quite large, bigger in nature. Crude andre, it has, it has no proper dimensions to it. Correct? No proper shaping, no proper polishing to it. Are you understanding this? And lastly, it is coinciding with what? It is coinciding with ice ages. Back then, the Pleistocenic ice age. So naturally, the analytical information that I'm trying to give you over here and you have to understand is that during the ice age, what kind of animals can you expect? Large animals. What do you need to hunt large animals? Large stones or small stones. ಚಿಕ್ಕೇನಾದರೂ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಕಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ತೊಗೊಂಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ಬೋದಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. Large tools, so that matches. Other than that, any economic activity? Yes. Hunting is an economic activity. Gathering is an economic activity, probably. Isn't it? Other than that, is anything possible? Nothing is possible. Primitive, most stage of the life. Are you understanding this? So man largely dependent on hunting and gathering. What about its societal, social conditions back then? What do you think so? With such a setup, what is that? Group living. People lived in groups. Okay. Anything else? Settlements. How were their settlements? Caves. Did they migrate? Caves is comparatively Mesolithic. Is comparatively advanced way of settlement. Yes, nomadic. Yes, they migrated probably wherever they found animals, wherever they got, produce from the plants. They probably moved over there, isn't it? Right? Anything else? Group hunting. How do you know all this? How do we know all these things? Paintings is another important source of information. Please try to understand that. And some of the personalities who did the job, if you want, you can add it. If you do not know about it, please add this. Famous personalities associated with all this. Famous personalities associated with the Paleolithic discovery in Karnataka would be, any idea? Yes? Mortimer Wheeler is the name to remember. Mortimer Wheeler. Mortimer Wheeler. Captain Meadows Taylor. Meadows. Captain Meadows Taylor. Taylor. Sampath Iyengar. Sampath Iyengar. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಈ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಗಿರಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರೂಸ್ ಫುಟ್. Robert Bruce Foote, considered as father of archaeology in India. Robert Bruce Foote. All right. And Dr. Primrose. They have been associated with a lot of interpretation. They have been associated with a lot of excavations. So Dr. Primrose has the distinction of being, or have the distinction of discovering the first stone tool. The first stone tool, that would be a hand axe. All right. First evidence of stone culture in India was done by Dr. Primrose 1842 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ರೈಟ್, 1842 ಲಿಂಗಸಗೂರು, ರಾಯಚೂರು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ರೈಟ್, ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಬಬಲಿ he is a focal area. ಇವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Other than that, which of the following is a Paleolithic site? Which of the following is a Mesolithic or Neolithic or prehistoric site ಅಂತನೂ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Which are the oldest parts of Karnataka? Oldest, by oldest I mean not geologically, settlement wise, where people inhabited. Yes, Koppal, ಮತ್ತೆ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ, ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಯಚೂರು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲಿ? ಕೊಪ್ಪಳ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಸಾಕು. ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು, ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅರೌಂಡ್ ತುಂಗಭದ್ರಾ, ತುಂಗಾ ರಿವರ್ ಒರಿಜಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲಿ. ಅರೌಂಡ್ ಸರ್ bordering areas of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, all right. Some of the important sites, please. Some of the important sites. Lingadahalli, ಎಲ್ಲಿದು? ಲಿಂಗದಹಳ್ಳಿ, ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ವಿಚೆವರ್ districts it is known for. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಬೇಗ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಚ್ ಓವರ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ, ದ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಿಮಿಟಿವ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ inhabiting where? In dense forest areas, obviously, because they did not have that kind of tools to clear them. Are you understanding that? Plain area, naturally available plain areas, river formed plains ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ಅವರು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಯೆಟ್ ನೋನ್ ಟು ದೆಮ್. Are you understanding this? If you have to clear a forest, what should you do? You need to, first of all, you need to have a metallic tool. Were they aware about it? ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? ನೋ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ. ಆಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ಕಡೂರು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡೂರು? ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ. ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಜಾಗಗಳು ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸರ್? ಮತ್ತು ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಸಂಗನಕಲ್ಲು. ಬರೀರಿ, ಬೇಗ ಬೇಗ ಬರೀರಿ. ದೇವಪುರ, ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗ, ಕಲಬುರಗಿ ಅನ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. Before proceeding any further, let us try to understand the stages of economic development and we'll match this, right? The stages of economic development. Otherwise also, the stages of economic development, first, earliest of the earliest phase would be hunters and gatherers, correct alva? Or hunting and gathering would be the economic activity, followed by next step, yaudu? Fishing. So that means you mean depending on animals. Howda? Herding. Nomadic herding anta kelidira? From here onwards, dependence on animals is quite greater. Then agriculture. Sir? Yaudu? Fire? ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸರಿ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿ. Fire, okay. So don't you think so people did not know the art of using fire here? They knew it. Fire was discovered much earlier, ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ. But when domestication, animal dependency ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು, ದ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಫೈರ್ ಬಂತು. ರೋಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೌ ಬಾರ್ಬೆಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತನಾ? Anyways, that's not my point. What am I doing? That's a way of, probably that's something that associated with the process. I'm not going into it. I'm talking about an economic activity. Correct alva? Ninne classಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ. Rendering a service or producing a good. Right? All right. So agriculture. Initially agriculture would be very primitive nature. Right? No crop culture for sure. Yes, fishing is comparatively a primitive agricultural activity. Honey collection, kelidira, mouse trapping, etc. And then goes on, yes, to practice the crop culture. This is all primary activity. Humans have been advancing further by utilizing all the primary sector as raw materials and processing it. That is what we call it as the secondary sector, manufacturing activity anta heltivi, correct alva? So that's further advanced stage of economic development. So what am I trying to say over here is that this economic activity was largely witnessed in the Paleolithic era. Mesolithic era alli dependency, domestication of animal began. Wild ancestor of a dog is the earliest domestic animal to be domesticated anta heltivi, right? And as the time, Neolithic times started coming in, what happened? Man depended on agriculture, and accordingly nodi, the tools what they depended upon, the implements that they depended upon also changed. What is the size of the tools? Large. Also have an understanding about the climatological factors existing. Ice age will terminate. Once the ice age terminates, what happens? Probably the mean sea level will rise, temperatures will come down, newer flora, newer fauna will appear. Howda? Can I say the animals would be comparatively smaller in size? How do you hunt a smaller size animal? Imagine taking a big stone, running behind a rabbit. Is it possible? Yes, by the time you throw, the rabbit will easily see the stone coming and will just move this side. Howda? Is it possible? If you have to sustain in such a time, what should you do? Probably your tool should be of a smaller nature. The tool should be, ಅದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಅಡ್ವರ್ಟೈಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ವ, ಮೆಂಟೋಸಾ ಯಾವುದು, ಮೆಂಟೋಸ್ advertisement, is it? What is that, madam? Okay, either I'm missing too much or it's a very old advertisement. All right. Okay. Forget about it. Let's come back. And naturally, you will have an understanding that the Mesolithic times will have what? Tools of a very smaller nature, sharper, geometric in shape. See, a bow and arrow is a geometric tool. Are you understanding that? The arrow probably is in which shape? Triangular in shape. Are you understanding that? So probably used to hunt small animals and fast running animals. And when this thing was not reliable, ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಅಂತ ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ದು, ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಅಂತ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬೋರ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. Are you understanding that? People will always see, humans have the tendency to always look for comfort. Hedonism is what we call this. Pleasure seeking behavior. ಕಷ್ಟ ನಮಗೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವ? ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನು. ಸರ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ವ, ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಈಸಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ. ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಶುಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಒನ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾಪಿ ಪೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದೇ ನೋಡಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್. Just like that. So we always try to make our job easier, right? People also did the same thing. How long can they depend upon the nature? How long, can they bear the adversaries of the nature? So naturally they started to reside at one particular place. Sedentary culture is what we call it. Sedentary culture started to begin. By sedentary culture, I mean people started depending upon cultivation. Ultimately, the objective is food. Ultimately, the objective is food security, isn't it? So they were searching for it, hunting, gathering, they were moving around, depending upon their cattle, and when it is no more sustainable, what will happen? People started residing at one particular place and started cultivating crops. That gave them stability. And also the art forms. Look at the art forms. Earliest of the earliest era, the Neolithic era, the tools what they had at their disposal, stones, larger stones. Can you paint with them? Can you paint with them? No paintings available. But you have a smaller tool. which is pointy, geometric in shape. Can you paint? We have paintings from Mesolithic eras. Coming on to the question that what is the color that they used to paint this? Red color. How did they get that red color? Huh? Stones, red stones ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಗ್ರೈಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಜನ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ಡನ್ನು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ವೇ, ರೈಟ್? ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಲಾಂಗರ್ ಡ್ಯೂರೇಷನ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಐರನ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ undergoes oxidation and it stays for a longer duration, and we are blessed to see them. Correct alva? And we got some information about them. Alright? And it's not like modern day paintings, it's just it's the nature of stick paintings. Very primitive paintings irutte. Somehow they were, that is how we actually know about it. Hunting scenes anna depict ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Correct alva? We also know about what is the societal life in it. People are standing with hands holding together, there's a fire burning, people are sitting, probably they're having a barbecue party. You never know. They did not have any other option. People were happy, dancing scenes. We are trying to decipher it. Okay, these are the things, elements of continuity that we have been taking forward further. All right? And as far as the time is being progressing, the tools become smaller, sharper, and nodi. When the sedentary culture begins, a new art form appears. What is that, the new art form? Pottery. Once you grow it, you will have a requirement of storing it. ಹೌದಾ? ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಪಾಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಡು ದೇ ಕುಕ್? ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಾ? ನೋಡಿ, ಅಗೇನ್ ದ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. ಪಾಟ್ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ ಅಂತ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಇವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪಾಟ್ ದಮ್ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದೇ ಒಂದು 200 ರೂಪೀಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾರ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸಿ ದ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಕರ್ಮ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಲ್ಲ ಅದು. That the only explanation is karma over there. So probably a new necessity is the mother of invention anta heltare. When they began to cultivate crops, they had a requirement of storing it as well as cooking it. Correct alva? Raw rice ತಿನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕುಕ್ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. What do you have to cook? We need to have a structure. So naturally they had no other option of cultivating this, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. Again, let me tell you. So pottery began. What kind of pottery? Very primitive pottery. Correct alva? Some handmade pottery. Correct? Handmade pottery is primitive pottery. Howdalva? Go to some shops and check out the prices for handmade things nowadays. It's nothing but again karma. Some of the sites of painting sites, generally you don't find this information in your books. Again, paintings. Robert Bruce Foote is the man. Heli paravagilla heli. Robert Bruce Foote is the man who is associated with discovering paintings on caves. All right. Themes. What are the themes of the paintings? Themes of the paintings. Hunting scenes. Hunting scenes alli animals were depicted, probably. Stars were painted. Right? Stars. What else? Dancing. What did you say? Partying. You're not sure about it. It's what we think, right? Then a 4-meter tall human figure. That's very famous. Found in Raichur. A 4-meter tall human figure. Almost all the paintings, what has been discovered is discovered around the present day Ballari district, Raichur district and Chitradurga district. These were one of the earliest settlements anta helbodu. All right. Then another important art form that began during this time would be the sculpture. What is a sculpture? Sir? I told you, right? Right. Huh? Raichur. Yeah. Raichur, Ballari and Chitradurga. These were one of the old sites. Adralle irutte. Not necessary that you have to go into the specific names, but these are the districts where Robert Bruce Foote has worked excessively and found e 4 meter tall Raichuralli barutte. That's all. That's all is enough. All right. Then sculpture. What is a sculpture? See, the names helpekadre there are plenty, and I don't see them in the exam coming in the examination. So let's not talk about them also. Having an holistic idea is a requirement. Sculpture andreno? Stone carvings. What if I carve them in terracotta? Mainly it's stone. Sculptures are basically three-dimensional images. We take pictures two-dimensional. If I do it in three-dimensional, of whatever material, of whatever style that I use, sculpture is basically. So we have a very, very unique sculpture thing that is comparable to the Indus Valley civilization anta heltare. So please add a little bit. Sculptures found in the cave settlements of Karnataka. Cave settlements or cave sites mostly depicts animals. Mostly depicts animals such as sheep, pigs, all right, whatever they domesticated. Sheep, pigs, cows, etc. Again, no price to guess, same districts, same places, Ballari. If you want nodi, Ballariyalli yav jagadalli sikkide andre, I have already told you, Sanganakallu anno jaga ide, hauda? Same thing, alle, those are the important sites. Sanganakallu Ballariyalli, Tekkalkota ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಇದೆ ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ದೆನ್ ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿ ಮತ್ತು ರಾಯಚೂರು ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ವ, ರಾಯಚೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಿಕ್ಲಿ ಹಾಲ್ in Raichur. If you want to take it, you can take it. Musky is a little later. Yes, it is in Raichur, but primitive importance, prehistoric importance ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. It's all right. And the clay bull found at Pickley Hall, ಈ ಜಾಗ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, worthy of remembering it. The clay bull is majestic anta heltare. It's one of the very well developed form of art at that point. Clay bull, it's very majestic, found at Pickley Hall in Raichur. Simple question kelirtare. The clay bull belonging to so and so era is found at which site anta keltare, athwa some question might be around this, roaming around this. The reason why I say this is because sculpting as an art form in overall the Indian culture develops in Indus Valley civilization, that is 5,000 years, 4,000 years from now onwards. And if you have studied the Indus Valley civilization, though I am not going into that, but let me take that as a reference. Some of the very prominent stone sculptures and even metallic sculptures are found in the Indus Valley civilization. One among them is the terracotta image of a bull. Sculpture of a bull, you can find out in your textbooks or online, you can just check it, the image. So that is what is comparable to this prehistoric site. Prehistoric site alli namage sculptures yadu sikkiralla. Elli North Indian culture alli athwa general Indus Valley culture alli agirbodu, I mean before Indus Valley culture agirbodu, namage ellu sikkiralla, illi sigutte namage. So that's a very unique thing. I told you, unique things must be remembered. All right. Then what else? Anything else that we are missing here? That's all. Let's talk about the early history. Let's talk about the early history. By early history, the early history of Karnataka. The early history of Karnataka. Again, from here onwards, the sources of information would be manifold. It's a proper historic time. Andre, what do you mean by historic time? There is a written evidence of some nature available to prove our point, right? By historic evidences, I mean literature, literary sources, rock edicts, inscriptions, all right. No doubt the art forms, if existing, and the earliest of the earliest political history of Karnataka can be traced back to the times of the Nandas. Who were they? Who were they? Sir? One dynasty that ruled the Magad region. They were? Okay, the predecessors of the Mauryas. Very good. Very good. No doubt, this region, what has been mentioned, the Magad region, being one of the Mahajanapadas, one of the 16 Mahajanapadas, because of certain natural advantages what they have at their disposal, and because of the ambitious kings that was been ruling, right, they become too powerful and subsume all the other Mahajanapadas, and in fact, they become so powerful that they can reach the south. Correct alva? So the first of the first rulers to reach, right, Karnataka would be the Nandas, followed by the Mauryas. Howda? And what is the source of information? The source of information that we have at our disposal would be some of the literary source of information. That would be Ashokan rock edicts. Yeah. Anything else? Jain stories. What is that Jain stories? Okay, what is that? Madam? Sanlekhana, okay. Chandravali inscription, very good. Anything else that you know about? Have you heard about Singiraja Purana? What is that? Add it, please add it, just the name, the names. Singiraja Purana. What is the Singiraja Purana? Singiraja Purana is a literary account by Singiraja. Yaroru? This is not given during the times of the Mauryas or Nandas. It was written much later, but it still speaks about these times, right? Singiraja Purana by Singiraja was written somewhere around 1500 AD, a lot later, right? Adral helirtare, the Nandas rule extended until Kuntala Desha anta helirtare. Kuntala Desha is the oldest name that we use to refer the Mysore region. Correct alva? All right. So that is something about the Nandas. Inscriptions about the Mauryas. Shravana Belagola. Shravana Belagola inscription. ಅದೇ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್ ಬರ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನದು? That he had come down south. Yes. What did he do down south? Huh? He died. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, information over. He came over here and he died. By madam? How did he die? Fasting. Okay. Sanlekhana, that's. So one thing is for sure that Jainism and Buddhism was a very well established religion anta helboda. Yes. Nodi. Somewhere around in the middle of the previous millennium, Jainism and Buddhism would flourish. Correct alva? Also to be understood, what is happening at this point of time, why there is a political consolidation of that nature is because we have passed something what we call it as a Vedic culture. The Rig Vedic era and the later Vedic era, which does not, of course, does not concern politically to the state of Karnataka. So that's the reason I am avoiding it. But what is the takeaway from that is because the Vedic culture, the Rig Vedic era and the later Vedic era has installed so many complicated rituals, so many complicated or so many complex, practices, socio-religious practices, that there were many people who were disgruntled from it. Many people did not conform to that particular ideology, and as a result of which, Right? Nodi, until unless it affects us economically, we would not have a problem. We would not mind it. Understand that. People back then, the Brahmanical dictates, what were being given in that particular society back then in the later Vedic era especially, was completely against women, number one. Women discrimination was on was on the rise. Second thing, right, the caste, the varnas, the four varnas what came into picture, gave certain privileges to certain sections of the population and certain disabilities to another section of the population. So naturally, that population that had the disabilities will be disgruntled. And restrictions being imposed, for example, as simple as you cannot cross the sea, will affect the merchant community, who are probably being wealthier and by increasing share of foreign trade, increasing share of external trade. And there came a point wherein it was believed that ನೋಡಿ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ದುಡ್ಡಿದೆ, ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ತುಂಬ ದುಡ್ಡಿದೆ, I am very wealthy, but I do not have that social status. What do I do? What do I do? I look for something that gives me that societal status whatever I deserve. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? Tax paying section usually demand lot of privileges, and when they do not get it, revolutions happen. That is what we have learned from the historical perspective. American Revolution ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, Russian Revolution ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, French Revolution ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. It's all about who is actually contributing to the societal development and them getting back that share. ಸಿಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Naturally there will be problems. There is always that feeling, I am contributing so much and I don't get that respect. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. If you are an earning member and when you are contributing to your household and you do not get that respect back, if you have faced this, you will understand this. ಅದೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಅದೇ. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್, ನೋ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಐ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಅಂತಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ದೆನ್. No matter how much you do it, how much you contributed, you don't get that respect. Naturally, one feeling of discontent. Correct? Allah. So they were looking for it, and usually all the other three varnas were very, facing great problems because of it. Led by the Kshatriyas, right? That is, who is he? Founder of Buddhism and Jainism. Who are they? Rishabdeva. Illa. The principles of Jainism our time in the start agutte, but finally as a final version kotirodu Mahavira. Who was he? Which varna did he belong to? And the other one, who is the founder of Buddhism? Buddha. Inneno Buddha alla hesru Gautam Siddhartha anta avar hesru. Correct alva? Was he also Kshatriya? Yes. They could not take it. Probably we studied in a different way. History is little distorted, there is no doubt about it. Hege ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ಥರ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಸೇ ಇನ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್. ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಲೇಟ್ರ್ ಒಂದು 50 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರು ಓದ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟಾರ್ಷನ್ ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್, ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಫೈನ್, ವಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್. ಸೊ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್ started preaching completely, their philosophies was completely antithetical to the Brahmanical Hinduism anta helbodu. Whatever they put a disability on, they allowed it. Are you understanding it? And this probably appealed the Kshatriya community and kings started adopting it. So ಹಾಗೆ ಅವರು ಒಂದು 12 years famine ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ. He would be fed up. This is too much, I cannot take it anymore ಅಂತ ಅಬ್ಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ throne, he would just let it go to his successors and he would just walk down south. ಹೌದಾ? ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ? ಒಬ್ಬ ಎಂಪರರ್, ಫಾಲೋವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್, has come down south, embracing Jainism. Will he get that influence along with him? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫೋಕಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಶ್ರವಣ ಬೆಳಗೊಳ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಫೋಕಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Right? And his successors, what did they follow? Probably Ashoka thought my grandfather just went away because following Jainism, let me not follow that. But whatever might be the case, the options was very limited, Jainism or Buddhism. Can I say with them came the influence of Jainism and Buddhism to the down south? Howdalva? Before that ಏನಿತ್ತು? Any religion that we follow? Vedic culture ಇತ್ತ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಜೀವಿಕ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? All these philosophies have been, ಅದೇ ದಟ್ ಝೋನ್, ದ ಮಗದ ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನಂದರೆ, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಡೌನ್ ಸೌತ್, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಡಿಡ್ ವಿ ಫಾಲೋ? ಡಿಡ್ ವಿ ಫಾಲೋ ದ ವೇದಿಕ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. ಶಕ್ತಿಸಮ್, ವಿ ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಶಕ್ತಿಸಮ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಶಕ್ತಿಸಮ್? ನೇಚರ್ Nature worshippers. That is not Shaktism. Shaktism is considering energy in its feminine form and goddesses irtave. Correct alva? Ade Saraswati, right? So Lakshmi, avella, this is an elements of Shaktism. That is very lot later, sir. Before that, what are the things? Vedic culture follow ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ನಾವು ಹೌದಾ? Are you sure about it? Dravidian culture ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಐನೋ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ್ರವಿಡಿಯನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. ಹಾಂ, ಲೋಕಲ್ ಗಾಡ್ಸ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್. Did we worship nature? Do we worship nature even today? Yes, why not? Tribal culture, okay. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಿಮಿಟಿವ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್, ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ರೈಟ್. ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಸಮ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಅಶೋಕಾಸ್ ರಾಕ್ ಎಡಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್, ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 14 ಇನ್ ನಂಬರ್, 17 ಇನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, 13 ಇನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ನಾಟ್ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲಿ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಸಚ್ ಅ ಥಿಂಗ್, ರೈಟ್? ಎನಿವೇಸ್, the famous of the edicts that you should know is the Musky edict. Musky edict, ಯಾಕೆ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಅದು? It mentions the name Ashoka. And Nittur edict, Nittur edict and the Musky edict, remember, unique things because they mention the name Ashoka. Devana Priya Ashoka ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Yes, people over here say that we followed Vedic Sanatan Dharma before Jainism and Buddhism. True, no doubt about it. Some of the sages belonging to the Vedic culture have been making their way. Agastya, ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? ಸೇಜ್ ಅಗಸ್ತ್ಯ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. And of course, since we are speaking about Jainism and Buddhism, do you think Jain literature and Buddhist literature is also a source of information about them, about their activities in Karnataka? Yes. Mahavamsa and Deepavamsa. Remember, add it. The Mahavamsa and Deepavamsa. Mahavamsadalli ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ that Ashoka sent Buddhist missionaries to Banavasi. Banavasi ಯಾವ ಎಲ್ಲಿ? Sirsi. All right. And ದ್ವೀಪವಂಸ ಅಂದರೆ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾ ಕಳಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್, ಓಕೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೌರ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ದ ಸದರ್ನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಎಂಪೈರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾವಿನ್ಸ್, right? Suvarnagiri anta kelidira? Yes, the term given to us was Suvarnagiri. ಯಾಕೆ ಸುವರ್ಣಗಿರಿ? ಸುವರ್ಣಗಿರಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು? ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? somewhere near Musky, understand that, right? ಅದೇ, okay. Suvarnagiri is the provincial capital of the south, sir. Gold mines, okay. Because of the gold, it was always a very attractive area, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? And the officers that the Mauryas used to control, right, the affairs, were called as the Dharma Mahamatras. ಇವ್ರನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು they used to run the show, run the administration, right? All right. All right. And let me also tell you this. The Dhamma Mahamantras, the officers sent to different places, also were used to spread Buddhism, right? And there is certain, there is a specific thing, specific officials that you need to understand about. Probably match the following or something like that, the question would be appearing, right? The officer Rakshita was sent to Banavasi. All right. Mahadeva someone in the comment section says, because that place was full of gold mines, an attractive place, unfortunately it was attached. They say, I am assuming that attacked was what they wanted to write, attacked by the cruel Alauddin Khilji anta heltare. Before cruel Alauddin Khilji could come down, sir or madam, there were so many of them that has been exploiting that particular place. Yes, naturally, ಒಂದು wealth ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ anyone can, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? But the man, portray the history. That is, history today very clearly ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. I am not supporter of any political party. I am not supporter of any ideology. I have my own ideology. Probably, we'll put it one fine day. But just to tell you, history today has become a political tool. Correct alva? History changes, right, in different regimes. ಅದೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ? Whatever regimes history ಹೇಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಆ ಥರ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಈಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್. ಶುಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್? When it changes, no, I am not blaming anyone, please, right? Everyone does that. Every ideological, every political party plays with history. History has become a very great political tool. Anyways, Mahadeva was the officer that was sent to Yelli, Kaveri. Yes, the Kaveri Valley. Kaveri Valley. The term given to that, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಾನಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ದೀಪವಂಶ ಮಹಾವಂಶದಲ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಮಹಾದೇವ ಕಾವೇರಿ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಯನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಅದೇನು? ಮಹಿಷ ಮಂಡಲ. ಮಹಿಷ ಮಂಡಲ, ಐ ರೈಟ್ ಇಟ್. ರೈಟ್. Then it was Maharakshita. Make yourself familiar with the terms. Maharakshita was sent to the Vidarbha region. This is how Ashoka tried to spread Buddhism by using different class of officials. All right. Yavana Dharma Rakshita was in charge of the Konkan region. All right. So that's something associated with the Mauryas. All right. Let's proceed further. After the Mauryas, it was yaro. Nodi, the Mauryas end by 183 BC. This is the generally acceptable number. All right. So that is the 2nd century BC. From the 2nd century BC, the decline of the Mauryas will mark a sense of political disintegration across India. Once this empire controlled the length and breadth of Indian subcontinent back then. So when it declined, numerous powers comes into picture, and as far as the affairs of the south is concerned, that was dominated by the Shatavahanas. All right, 2nd century BC, 3rd century BC, 240 AD, 240 or 230 AD, 250 anta ankomidi. All right, now to understand this particular era, you need to understand, or you need to recall what was existing before this. During the Mauryas were strong followers of the Gnostic philosophy. Haudalva? Gnostic philosophy is that philosophy that does not believe in God, believe in existence of the God. The manifestation of this Gnostic philosophy came in the form of Jainism. Hauda? According to Lord Mahavira. According to Mahavira, Lord Mahavira anta helade tappu actually. Jainism, ಅವರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ, what do you think about God? What does he say? Does God exist? He says no, he denies it. Buddha does not say anything. But ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಗಾಡ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟೇಟಿವ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಲೇಟರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಫಾಲೋವರ್ಸು, ಅವರನ್ನೇ ಗಾಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, someone spoke about it, the philosophy of ಆಜೀವಿಕ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆಜೀವಿಕನ ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? You don't have a control on your life. Madam? Fatalism. Exactly. Fate. Niyati. Whatever is happening in your life, it is already decided. You do not have a control over it. So, whatever has written, that will happen. No matter how much you struggle it anta helbiಟ್ಟು inactivity promote ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. Then philosophy of Charbaka. What is this? Worldly pleasures. Do ನೋಡಿ ಅಂಥದ್ದೇ ಫಿಲಾಸಫೀಸೇ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಆಫ್ ಹೆಡನಿಸಮ್, ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ರೈಟ್? ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಸಿಗೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಲೈಫ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಶಾರ್ಟ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಫೀಲ್ ಲೈಕ್, ಡೂ ಇಟ್. ಉಪೇಂದ್ರ. Even if you have money or if you don't have money also. If you don't have money, what do? Take loan and then enjoy. Correct alva? ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಋಣ್ಕೃತ್ವ ಘೃತಂ ಪಿವೇತ್. ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡಾದ್ರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ತುಪ್ಪ ತಿನ್ನಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So it was largely an era of domination of the Gnostic philosophies because the rulers themselves patronized all these things. Correct alva? ಏನಾಯ್ತು? ನಾನು ಆ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿಗೆ ಫೌಂಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಇಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅದನ್ನು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮಿಷ್ಟ. ಬಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನೋಡಿ ನೀವು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಸೊ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ this led to a resurgence of, or this led to a decline of the Brahmanical domination anta heltene. So naturally what will happen? That is what you have to appreciate, is that for the very first time, which are the four varnas, if you can please. Okay. Mate? And the Shudras. What is the role, traditional role according to the Vedas? Brahmins andre the head, associated with learning. Howda? Learning, rituals, whatever. Kshatriyas, shoulders, associated with defense, warrior class. Vaishyas, merchants ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವೆಲ್ಲ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಶೂದ್ರಾಸ್ ಸರ್ವ್ ದ ಅಪರ್ ತ್ರೀ. ಹೌದಾ? ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ probably considering the resurgence or considering the domination of Jainism and Buddhism, a slight change in the role happens over here. For the very first time, it would be the Brahmins who starts playing, the Brahmanas who start playing the role of Kshatriyas. That is the prime basic feature of the Satavahana clan. Correct alva? They claimed to be Brahmanas, but they would be performing the role of a Kshatriya. This change has never seen before, so this is a unique time. And the sources of information, please, very quickly. The sources of information. Number one, Puranas. Puranas speak plenty about the Shatavahanas. Being a piece of Brahman literature, they speak a lot about. All right. Puranas, second source of information would be the inscriptions. Inscriptions, please. Inscriptions. See, very quickly, let us talk about the Puranas. What are they? The Puranas. Vishnu Avatara. Appendix of Upanishads. But it exists, it consists of everything from creation till destruction. Correct Allah? Divisions adralli idava. Sir? No, that's the types of, but the broad classification. Helidira ivella? Alla. Purushartha, no, those are the basics. Vamsanucharita, ಮಾನವಂತರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡಿವಿಷನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಜೀನಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಹೂ ಕೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್? ಎಸ್, ದರ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್. ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪುರಾಣಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ಲಿ? ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಪುರಾಣ. ಹೌದಾ? ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು 10 ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇಗ. ವಿಷ್ಣು ಪುರಾಣ, ಗರುಡ ಪುರಾಣ, ಭಾಗವತ್ ಪುರಾಣ, ವಾಯು ಪುರಾಣ, ಸ್ಕಂದ ಪುರಾಣ. ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ, ಸಾಕು ಬಿಡಿ, ಸಾಕು. Inscriptions. Now if I speak about inscriptions, did not speak about Mauryan inscriptions or Mauryan rock edicts about this angle, but let me talk about it. Which language? Now the question of language appears. Correct alva? Inscriptions andre ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ, ಇವರು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಾರ. Mauryan edicts, which is the language that they used? Sir? Pali. Prakrit? Sir? Astamagadi. Ardhamagadi. Okay. Ardhamagadiನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಾ? ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ವಾಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕೃತ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್? ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಮುಂಚೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುವಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಮೊನೋಪೊಲಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅಪರ್ ವರ್ಣ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎನಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್, ಎನಿ ರಿಚುವಲ್, ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಅಪರ್ ವರ್ಣ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಕೃತ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪಾಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರನ್ನು ವೆನ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್, ರೈಟ್, the common man could understand it. So language is a very sensitive issue. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, across time, across ages. If something is there in my language, I will feel, a sense of belongingness to it. Even today, language related issues ಇದಾವೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಹೌದಾ? ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿ 60%. ಹೌದಾ? ರೀಸೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಲಾ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಸರ್? ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ವಾ ನೀವು? 60-40. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಕಬೇಕಂತ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಇಮೋಷನಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ region, not only ours, right? So the main languages that came into prominent use is Prakrit, Pali, ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಅರ್ಧಮಾಗದಿ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಇತ್ತು. Now the question is, languages, how do they write it? This is the difference between a language and a script. So I heard someone using the word script ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. Script is something that you to write it. ಯಾವ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು? ಎಸ್, Brahmi script is a script that was utilized in the mainland India. And since the Mauryans captured the northwestern part of India, which had a foreign influence ಅಲ್ಲಿ, Greeks and Persian influence, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಖರೋಷ್ಠಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Aramic writing, no doubt, Iranian, Persian ಇಂದ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು. ಎಸ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. Brahmi script and Kharoshti script. Kharoshti in the northwestern part, Brahmi in the mainland India. Prakrit, please. Prakrit language was in dominant use and Brahmi script. All right. And some literary works such as Brihat Katha. You have to remember this. Brihat Katha. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್. ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ. ಒಡ್ಡ ಕಥೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬೃಹತ್ ಕಥಾ. ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ರಿಟನ್ ದಿಸ್? ಗುಣಾಧ್ಯಾಯ. Yes, Gunadhya. Worthy of remembering it, please. I am speaking very loudly, madam. Am I not loud? Not too loud, you are normal ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಸರ್? Yes, this is my maximum capacity. What happened? ಅದೇ ಮಾಡೋದು ಜನ, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು? ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಿರ್ಚಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. All right, then one more source of information about the Satavahanas is Gata Saptasati. ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? Yes. ಏನದು? Gata Saptasati. Who has written it? Hala. Yes. Saptasati ಅಂದರೆ 700 verses ಇರುತ್ತೆ. And also since foreign trade was developing, was evolving, was taking its ground, lot of foreign accounts also, right, is a very prominent source of information about the same. Ptolemy, his book, ಏನದು? Geography, yeah. ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾತವಾಹನಾಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಜಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪೆರಿಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಎರಿಥ್ರಿಯನ್ ಸಿ. Periplus of Erythraean Sea. Who has written it? Sure. Are you sure about it? I don't know. Huh? Yeah, I thought there is no author to it. Unknown author. Anyways, Periplus of the Erythraean Sea. These are the sources of information. Coins. Another important source of information, the coins. If the trade is flourishing, if the economic activity is booming, naturally you need a medium of exchange, right? Silver coins were in use, gold coins were in use. Gold coins alla, silver coins, not gold coins, I am so sorry. Coins made of silver, coins made of lead, yes, were in use. And Roman coins, since they had trading relationship with the Rome, our coins will bartaithe. That is what we had it. All right. Famous rulers yaru? Yes. Founder yaro? Simukha. Founder of the Simukha. Yes, Simukha is the founder. Capital. Simple information. Pratisthana. Okay. Yelli yav jagadalli ide idu Pratisthana anta? Maharashtra. So they were rulers of the Deccan. All right. Helbekandre nodi, you need to have an idea about studying history is not just simple bayatting or going through this. It's a connectivity to other disciplines also matters. Geography. Geographical or physiography, ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Physiography has been very prominent influencer in shaping the political affairs. ಹೌದಾ? ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈ ಫಿಸಿಯೋಗ್ರಾಫಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಜಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕ್ಲೈಮೆಟೊಲಾಜಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಶೇಪ್ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯನ್ನು. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? ಕಲ್ಚರನ್ನು ಶೇಪ್ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್, ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಟು ದ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟು ದ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸ್, ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? Language is different. Nature of the people is also different, no matter how much they say. Western side of the Western Ghats, whatever the coastal districts of Karnataka, people are more adventurous anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Correct alva? More adventurous. ಹೌದಾ? Anyone from coastal districts of Karnataka? Yes. Correct sir? ಹೇಳೋದು adventurous ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದಾ? Liberal ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದಾ? Because they have been facing influences from the external world. That's the first point of contact. Language, ಯಾವ language? Tulu. Konkani, yes, very good. On the eastern side of the Western Ghats, it is completely different. Haudalva. And considering the climatological issues also over here, North Karnataka, South Karnataka, ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, correct? What is the difference? Basic food pattern, dress and what not. Correct alva? Language also. Language. Anyone from North Karnataka here? Sir, ಏನು ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನು ನೀವಿಬ್ಬರು ಹೆಸರುಘಟ್ಟ ರಿಸರ್ವರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು. Good combination. Correct alva? No, something happened yesterday, so forget about it. Anyways, so ಭಾಳ ರಫ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಭಾಷೆ? ಹಾಂ ಏನು ಸರ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದರೆ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಐ ನೋ, ಸಿ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ವೆರಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಫ್ರಮ್ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೀ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಈಸ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೀ. So I know the manner in which he talks to his parents. Forget about the rest of the world. ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಲೆಕ್ಕನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕಾಂಟ್ ಸೇ ದೋಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರ ಅಪ್ಪ ಜೊತೆಗೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಹಾಂ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಮನ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ, ಯು ನೋ. ಎನಿವೇಸ್ ಸರ್, ದ ಮೋರ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೈಬೇಕು ಅಂತನಾ? ನಮ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ದ ಮೋರ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್, ದ ಮೋರ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬಾಪ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಇದ್ರೇನು ಅವ್ನು ಬೈಯೋದು ಬಿಡಿ. ಹಾಂ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕರ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ದೆನ್ ಐ ವಿಶ್ ಐ ಕುಡ್, I would have, if you were not live on YouTube. I would even have tried and I would have told you how can it be a word that you know that is preaching love ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. Anyways, but see, that is how it has been. Probably difficult situation, ಮಳೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದರೆ ಹಾರ್ಶ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ. ದಟ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್ ವಿತ್ ರಾಜಸ್ಥಾನ್. ರಾಜಸ್ಥಾನದವರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಹಿಂದಿಯಲ್ಲೇನೋ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೈತಾರೆ, ವಿತೌಟ್ ಒನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು. ಬಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಕನ್ವೆ ಓವರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ there is a very prominent physiographic division that has divided the Indian physiography, Indian culture into north and south. That is the Vindhyas. To the south of the Vindhyas lies the Deccan region. ಇವರು ಆ ರೀಜನಲ್ಲಿ ರೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಪರಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡೆಕ್ಕನ್ ರೀಜನ್. ಏನು ಗ್ರೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನು ಕಲ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು? ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಲ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡೆಕ್ಕನ್ ರೀಜನ್, ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ರೀಜನ್, ಇಸ್ ಕಾಟನ್. ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ agricultural prospects begins with cotton. Understand that. Textile, will there be a termination in the demand of textile ever? As long as we are conscious about ourselves, textiles namak bekagutte, correct alva? Right? It's one primary basic aspect of human life, correct alva? So they would be trading with external other contemporaries of them, and they would naturally get a lot of prosperity inside it, and therefore that is visible, quite visible. All right. Followed by towards Jainism and Buddhism. ಅವ್ರ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೇ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಜೈನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಕೇವ್ಸ್, ಬುದ್ಧಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇವ್ಸ್ ಅಜಂತಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲೋರಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ದೇ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ದೇ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಐ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು an assurance that they developed it ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಬಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋವರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ವೇರ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋವರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಜೈನಿಸಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸಮ್? Merchants were very rich, very prosperous. They donated it. Donations ಅನ್ನು ಒಂದು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಲ್ರೈಟ್. ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗ್ರೂ. ಕೇವ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಕೇವ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್, ತುಂಬ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ಸನ್ನು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫೈಂಡ್. ಅಜಂತಾ ಕೇವ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲೋರಾ ಕೇವ್ಸ್, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಹರ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದೆಮ್? ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡೆಕ್ಕನ್ ಕೇವ್ಸ್. ಆಲ್ರೈಟ್. ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ ಶತಕರ್ಣಿ. Funny comments, so you get it. It's really good, really interesting. I've been trying this for the first time. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡೌಟ್ಫುಲ್, it is very doubt. He is the restorer of the Brahminical might. He starts with, a very prominent practice to show that, you are aware about these things. Okay, so he performed Ashwamedha Yagya, Rajasuya Yagya. Just trying to make you familiar with these names. Rajasuya andre coronation ceremony, ಒಂದು initiation ceremony ತರ. All right. The next important ruler, the most famous ruler, would be ಯಾರು? ಗೌತಮಿ ಪುತ್ರ. ಗೌತಮಿ ಪುತ್ರ. ಹೆಸರಿಂದ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಲೀನಿಯಲ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಗೌತಮಿ ಪುತ್ರ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರ ತಾಯಿ ಹೆಸರು ಗೌತಮಿ. ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಸೀನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್? ಅಂದರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ವುಮೆನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ? ಹಾಂ, ಬರೀ ಹೆಸರು ಮಾತ್ರ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದು, ನಥಿಂಗ್. ದ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ವುಮೆನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲೈನಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಲೇಟರ್ ವೇದಿಕ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎಸ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ ಅಬರೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಫೇಮಸ್, expanded the Satavahana territories and destroyed their contemporaries. ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ? The Shakas. The Shakas would be a great challenger. The Yavanas, the Pahalavas ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಫಾರಿನ್ challenges ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತವೆ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ. That is how they have been sustaining it. All right. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಟೈಟಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್, ಶಾಖಾ ಪುರುಷ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಶಾಖಾ ಪುರುಷ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಹಿ ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ದ ಶಾಖಾಸ್. ಶಾಖಾಸ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್. ಶಾಖಾ ಪುರುಷ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ರೈಟ್. Then, next important ruler, Vasishthaputra. Nodi, idannu, either they took names of their mother or prominent sages. Sage Vasishthaputra, Pulamai. Okay na? Bidi, last ruler yaro? Who was the last ruler? No idea. Anyone who knows about the last ruler? Yagyashri antare. Yes. Just saying first and last. I don't see them asking it, but still, all right. All right. And anything prominent about Shatavahanas from the administrative perspective is, yes, one thing is very prominent about them, speaking about them administratively. On the classification ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. That is what, let me give it to you. Types of feudatories. What is feudalism? Feudalism ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? It's a social order, first of all, wherein ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? Empire would be divided into, okay, this is a system that has been developed, a social order system that has been developed in Europe anta heltare. But again, there were elements of feudalism existing in India. There is no doubt about it. Probably nodi, ಒಂದು ಟೆರಿಟರಿಯನ್ನು would be ruled by many rulers, chiefs ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯೋಣ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ. Correct ಅಲ್ವಾ? And let us say how many chiefs are there. One among them would be very dominant. Let us say the chief belonging to this territory would be very dominant. And there would be a common external enemy who is posing a great deal of challenge. And it is very well understood, and they have arrived at a conclusion that if we fight, if we do not ally with each other, what will happen? That enemy would take over. All right, so what would they do? Who will they make the boss? Whoever is the most powerful or whoever has the most allies. So the emperor, understand this, he would be the emperor, and under this king, under this emperor would be many chiefs called as the feudatory. So an empire is made up of multiple kingdoms. Satavahanas had 10 to 12 kingdoms under them. So there is no doubt about it. So there were a category of feudatories, the types of feudatories that you have to know, because it is these feudatories that forms the subsequent kingdoms. Correct alva? The Kadambas, the Gangas, right? Types of feudatories. Number 1, Mahabhoja. Mahabhoja andre, have you heard about such a classification before? Yes. Mahabhoja is nothing but the blood relatives, those feudatories who are the blood relatives of the king. Blood relatives of the king. Then who else? Rajas. And the third type of feudatory, Mahasenapati. Who were these? The Rajas and the Mahasenapati. Yaru? The Rajas andre independent, independent kings who were not blood related. And Mahasenapati, those who commanded a great deal of army, military governors anta helirtare. So later Yure, finding this an opportunity, they will find a time, appropriate time, and they will take over the power. Right? Yure. Next ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಅಂತ madam. Madam? Vasisht. Shakas was destroyed in the year 78 AD. Shaka era anta create ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. So it was Vasisht Putra. ಅದೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು? All right. 1 second. 130 to 1, let me recall it. I am very bad with numbers, but I can recall it. I have a way to recall it. 130 AD to 150 AD Vasishtha. So 78 AD, before that ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ? Vasishtha ಮುಂಚೆ Gautami Putra, madam. I am so sorry. Gautami Putra was called as the Shaka Purusha. All right. 78 AD ಅಲ್ಲಿ that thing would happen, a very prominent thing. ಅದರಿಂದ ಒಂದು era start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes, that is how it is. Satavahana era ಅಂತಾರೆ, Shalivahana era ಅಂತಾರೆ, Shaka era ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನು 78 AD ಅಲ್ಲಿ the ruler was Gautami Putra. So then what about the economy? What do you know about the economic condition of the Satavahanas? It was good. Ashte mugito. End of the topic. What do you think about the economic conditions? It was good. Okay. Good ಏನಕ್ಕೆ okay ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಣ. So what was the main economic activity if I ask you? You know some of the information as of now. Agriculture was the main economic activity, there is no doubt about it. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ by this time iron was in very prominent use, and for agriculture the plow what you require, if it is an iron plow, it would be very flourished, right? And also there was a quite great demand for external trade. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? So whatever the raw materials that you derive, ಅದನ್ನು probably cotton grow ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು cultivate ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು textile manufacturing activity is also very good. There is no doubt about it, right? Textile industry flourished. ಬೇಗ textile industry flourished. Then trade and commerce. Trade and commerce flourished. What is the proof? The proof that you have at your disposal is simply noting, if economic activity is flourishing, and especially this flourishing economic activity is due to external trade and commerce. Trade and commerce, both internal as well as external, you will see two developments happening. And since we are speaking about the ancient history over here, of course literature is our main source of information, right? Please try to understand that if trade and commercial activity of a particular region is flourishing, can I say that region will undergo a process called as urbanization? Will it be evident? Will this be evident, increasing or flourishing trade and economic activity? Will it be evident with the growth of towns and cities? Howda? So there was a great deal of towns and cities that came into picture. Correct alva? See, I told you, I give this very standard example all the time. Bangalore has an excellent economic activity, prospects, excellent prospects ide. Correct alva? So do you see Bangalore city growing? There is no doubt about it. Correct alva? Congestion speaks for it. There is a huge potential. There is a huge creation of economic activity, hence employment potential, people will migrate, seeking those, correct alva? Even though work from home has not changed things, that's a very sad thing. Correct alva? Work from home ಆದರೆ at least congestion ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಬಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. What happened, sir? All well? Okay. So here, evidence of internal economy being flourishing is the growth of towns and cities, a number of them. Banavasi, Pattadakal, Paithana, etc. A number of cities will flourish. These cities become very prominent at this point of time. All right. And how do you judge that external trade and commerce was very flourishing? This is evident by the growth of ports. Mention of ports. A great deal of mention of ports during the Satavahana times is seen in the literature, contemporary literature. Example of important ports, please. Sir. Example of ports. Examples of towns and cities. Helirtinalva. Banavasi, Pattadakal, Paithana. If you want more, add this. Ajanta. All right. And ports, important ports. Ee ports ಬಗ್ಗೆ question ಬರಬಹುದು. Yes, they were. Sopara port, Sopara. Sopara port, Sopara. Yes. Kalyana, some, yes. Bhatkal, Banavasi, Barigaza port, Barygza, Barigaza, that is Bharuch, Gujarat in that bit, right? Prominent towns and cities. ಈ ಹೆಸರುಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು. ನಾಸಿಕ್ ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? ನಾಸಿಕ್, ಅಮರಾವತಿ ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? What is that? They are famous for? Huh? Exactly. So another important art and architectural development is the growth of Buddhist art forms in these centers. There's no price to guess. Adana agta ittu. That is what you have to. And another important thing, growing economic activity. The evidence of another evidence is the growth of guilds system. Guild system kelidira? It's like a union. Union of merchants, union of a specific economic activity. Guild system was very dominant at this point of time. Nigama, ನಿಕಾಯ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಗಮ, BSNL, ಭಾರತ್ ಸಂಚಾರ್ ನಿಗಮ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್, ನಿಗಮ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಕಾಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಶ್ರೇಣಿ ಅಂತಲೂ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಶ್ರೇಣಿ. All these are guilds. Guilds are basically organization of merchants of belonging to various professions. They come together to serve common interests, probably, you know. Then ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮೈನಿಂಗ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಹಟ್ಟಿ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಹಟ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. And also we need to have an understanding about the society. What is that about the society that you need, that you know about here? People definitely were followers of Vedic culture, there is no doubt about it, because the rulers peddled this Vedic culture, there is no doubt about it. So therefore, can I say Varna system flourished? And with time, with specialization, job specialization, can I say caste system was very dominant in this particular phase? One simple statement kotirtare. Caste system flourished during the times of Satavahanas. You have to just select true or false anta helbiಟ್ಟು. So caste system ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು prominent event ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. And of course, you have to analyze this information across the time about the position of the woman. What do you think was the position of women over here? Huh? Did they enjoy privileges? Yes. What do you think is overall position of the woman? Good or bad? Bad. When does it become good? Modi ji bandadmele. Is that? When do you think the position of the woman declines? Later Vedic, during the later Vedic period. Until Rig Vedic period, they were we had that egalitarian society, equal rights. They could participate in the political activities, assemblies, correct alva? They had that right to education, they had right to marry whoever they want. Haudalva, right? But later Vedic period, what happened? What changed? What changed, if I ask you? What is that change? Sir, patriarchy, why was it not in the Rig Vedic times? One simple logic, nodi connect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ. With increasing in economic prosperity, in a patriarchal society, position of women will go down, will decline. That's as simple as that. Rig Vedic times ಅಲ್ಲಿ economic activity ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಫ್ಲರಿಶಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. ಲೇಟರ್ ವೇದಿಕ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಯನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಬೇರೆ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯಾರ್ಕಿಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಈಗೋ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ವಿನ್ನರ್? ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ? Depends upon the family. How, sir? How does it depend upon the family? Heli. Which family has mother as the head of the household? That family where there is no father anta helbedi dayaviಟ್ಟು. Sir, in ration card only, correct alva? Women household, women head of the correct alva? Ade alva irodu. Otherwise we live in a patriarchal society even today. That is certain elements of change. Ade policy formulation ಆಗಿರೋದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ to change this notion. ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ male should be the head of the family anta? Who says so? Just asking. It's a convention that we have adopted, correct alva? Does it need to be changed? Should it be changed? Yes. Yes. Somewhere ಅವರು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ನೋ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ವುಮೆನ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೀ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. somewhere inside we are not willing to let that power go, is it? Nothing of that nature. Anyone can be the head of the household. So be very cautious. Sometimes personality test ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. how biased are you ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ and you will have given it away, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹೌಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯಾರು? ಹಾಂ, ಯಾರು ಸರ್? those who earn. ನೋಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ again you are materialistic now. If woman does not earn, father is the head of the family ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಬಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ಏನಂತೀರಾ? ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಮುಗೀತು. That's not how it works out. But again, probably the better answer would be the mother is the head of the household ಅಂದರೆ. ಯಾಕಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ರೇಷನ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡಿಟಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಫಾದರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹೌಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್. Anyways, let's proceed further. So position of the women started declining. They had no right to education. But it's not the case with that of the royal women. Nodi, upper class women, royal women, they had that privileges. It's only at the lower level that they were being discriminated. All right. And if someone asks you where the Satavahanas matriarchal in nature, since they adopted names of their mother instead of their father, definitely they were not matriarchal, because other evidences did not points out to be, many scholars have clearly, put forward that they are not matriarchal in origin, so that's not true. And what else? That's all as far as the Satavahanas is concerned. All right. Religion ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದು ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್? ವಿಚ್ ರಿಲಿಜನ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಫ್ಲರಿಶಿಂಗ್? Jainism, Buddhism, Vedic Brahmanism, yes or no? But since Vedic Brahmanism is not yet associated with monuments or construction of prominent nature, so it is largely the Buddhism and Jainism that flourishes. Among them, which is most important, Buddhism or Jainism? Buddhism, right? ಸೊ ಈ ಅಜಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಅಜಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಾಸಿಕ್ ಕೇವ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾರ್ಲೆ ಕೇವ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬುದ್ಧಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇವ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೀಟೇಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಶತವಾಹನಸ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೈಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ವಾಕಟಾಕಾಸ್ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಚುಟು ವಂಶ, ಚುಟು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾರವರು? ವೇರ್ ಡು ದೇ ರೂಲ್ ಫ್ರಮ್? ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ವೆರಿ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸಿ ಎ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೆಮ್, ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಸೇಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಟಿ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್. They are rulers from Banavasi. Very good. Are they related to Satavahanas? From here, for some centuries, all are relatives of the Satavahanas, because claiming a descent from the Satavahanas gives them that added advantage, gives them that validity. Correct alva? They are considered to be the Mahabhojas. Mahabhojas andre yaro? Blood relatives. And they call themselves Haritiputra. Haritiputra andre ಒಂದು ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣಿಕಲ್ ಲೀನಿಯೇಜ್ ಇರುವಂಥವರು. So that gave that legitimacy. All right. And main source of information, inscription. Yav inscription? Kanheri caves. Kanheri cave inscription gives them. Actually, inscription alli gottagodu namage that they consider themselves as Mahabhojas anta. All right. ಈ ಚುಟು ಅಂದರೆ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಏನು? ಚುಟೂಸ್ ಅಂತಾರಲ್ವ, ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಏನು? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್? ಎನಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ? ಮೇಡಮ್, ನೋ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಚುಟು ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಿರ್ಬೋದು? ಸಿ, all their emblems or their symbols, royal symbols ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, was the image of a cobra den, cobra crest ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Have you heard about that? The crest of the cobra is what we call it as chutu. Correct ಅಲ್ಲ? ಅವ್ರ symbol ಆಗಿತ್ತು. So that is how they have adopted this particular name. Alright, crest, the cobra crest ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. You know what is a cobra crest, right? It has a very spiritual and religious importance. Correct ಅಲ್ವಾ? Across various cultures, especially in the east ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಜಗನ್ನಾಥ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಪುರಿ ಜಗನ್ನಾಥ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ the god is made up of wood. Are you aware about this thing? And they change it frequently. Every 12 years they change it. ನವಕಲೆವಾರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ರಿಚುವಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ. ಯಾವ ವುಡ್? ವಿಚ್ ಟ್ರೀ? ನೀಮ್ ಟ್ರೀ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀಮ್ ಟ್ರೀ ವುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ನೀಮ್ ಟ್ರೀ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಆ ನೀಮ್ ಟ್ರೀ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕೋಬ್ರಾ ಡೆನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಆ ಟ್ರೀ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬಳಸೋದು ದೇವ್ರ ಇಮೇಜ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನಾವು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೋಬ್ರಾ ಡೆನ್ ಅಂತ ಇದನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ವೆರಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅಟ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಮ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್. ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್. ಆ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಜನ ನೋಡಿ. ಎನಿವೇಸ್, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದೆಮ್. ದ ಕದಂಬಾಸ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. ದ ಕದಂಬಾಸ್, ಎಸ್ ನೀಮ್ ಟ್ರೀ. ಸರ್, ಕಾಳ್ಮುಖ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್? No, of course later. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಶೈವಿಸಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಟ್, ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೈವಿಸಮ್. ಕಾಳ್ಮುಖ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಪಾಲಿಕ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಲೇಟರ್ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ವೀರಶೈವ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಲೇಟರ್ 12th centuryಯಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರೋಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಲೇಟರ್ ಬರೋದು. ಇವಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮ್, ಹೌದಾ? ಅವ್ರ ಎಂಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನು? ಸಿಂಹ. ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಬೇಗ ಬರ್ತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್. ಅದೇ ಹಳಸಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್. ಎಸ್, ಹಳಸಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್, ತಾಲ್ಗೊಂಡ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್, ಹಾಲ್ಮಿಡಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್, ಹಾಲ್ಮಿಡಿ ಶಾಸನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ? ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್? ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್? ಹೌದಾ? Okay. Then, what is their background? Where did they rule from? Capitally? Banavasi. Kadambas andre which part of Karnataka? Banavasi andre which part? West or east? Coastal area. Sorry, okay. So they will be adventurous again. They will be associated with trade and commercial activity. That gave them that liberty. Okay, what is their religious affiliation? Were they Buddhist followers, Jain followers, or they were the followers of Brahminical Hinduism? Yes, Vedic Brahmanism, yes, no doubt about it. They also claim themselves to be Hariti Putras. Andre ಒಂದು Brahminical lineage claim ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದವರು. Can I call them to be original Kannadigas? ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ? Yes, no doubt about it. Prominent ruler, founder ಯಾರು? Mayura Sharma. Okay. Before that, Kadamba andre meaning ಏನು? How did, sir? It's a drink. Tree. ನಾನು ಇದೇನಪ್ಪ ನಾನು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ನೋಡಲಿಲ್ಲಲ್ವ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲಲ್ವ ಅಂತ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬಂದಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. He said Kadamba is a drink. I thought. Okay, it's a tree. Kadamba tree. All right. Then, no doubt, Mayura Sharman, yes, the founder. ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ತಲಗೊಂಡ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್, ಚಂದ್ರವಳ್ಳಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. What is the story of Mayura Sharman? First ruler and founder. What made him? Humiliation from the Pallava. So basically it says, the inscription Talgonda record says that he was very well versed in Vedic learning and he had gone to the Ghatikasthana, Kanchi. Ghatikasthana andre eno? It's a prominent learning center. Correct alva? Their contemporaries were the Pallavas. Illi down south alli Pallavas. So he was there and he gets humiliated over there. Hege? How was he humiliated? Sir? Riveralli ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾರು ಬಟ್ಟೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಓಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ವರ್ಜನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಹಾಂ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ? ಓಕೆ, ಇರ್ಬೋದು ದಟ್ ವರ್ಜನ್ಸ್, ದೇರ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ವರ್ಜನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಲಕ್ಕಿ ದಟ್ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಎಸ್, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್, ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮಿಲಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ and that grudge made him establish this particular kingdom. All right. Anything else about him? Again, did he follow the same pattern as that of the Satavahanas, being a Brahman, assuming the role of Kshatriya? So that is what you have to understand this. Naturally, if he is claiming themselves to be Hariti Putra, they will also perform all the rituals, Ashwamedha, Avella. All right. Then, another important ruler that you have to remember about is Bhagiratha. Correct allo? Bhagiratha. Bhagiratha ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಕಕುತ್ಸವರ್ಮನ್ ಬರೋದು. All right. Bhagiratha. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ the unique thing about Bhagiratha is that there are patterns in history like this across different empires. Before Bhagiratha would be Kangavarman ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ರೂಲರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. He would lose all the territory and Bhagiratha would have born secretly. So ತುಂಬಾ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ they would have been hidden him, and again movie stories ಅಲ್ಲಿ again somewhere ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹೊಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ, ಇವರೇ ರೂಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ something like that. ಫಿಲ್ಮಿ ಸ್ಟೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಾಪಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ he would restore the pride of the Kadambas ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟೈಟಲನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನದು ಟೈಟಲ್? ದ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಸಾಗರ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಟೈಟಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇವ್ರನ್ನ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ he was the restorer of the Kadamba pride, right? So remember, since it's the first the first Kannada based kingdom, so we have to remember things about them. All right. And of course the next important ruler would be Kakutsthavarman. ಕಕುತ್ಸ್ಥವರ್ಮನನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇವರೇ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು Talagunda record, the main source of information about the Kadambas, was issued by Kakutsthavarman. Yellidu Talagunda? Shivamogga hatra, okay. Someone from Shivamogga was here. Sir, you are from Shivamogga. Someone else also? Huh? Yesterday. All right. Yes, someone says he was humiliated during a horse sacrifice. Yes, that's true. That's true. Ashwa Samsthana ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ರಿಚುವಲ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಾಗ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಮೈ ವರ್ಷನ್ ಐ ಹವ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿಡ್. ಈ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋಕ್ಕಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು, ಟು ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಆನೆಸ್ಟ್. ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನೋ ಹಾಂ ಸರಿ, ಶೀತ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ತಗೊಳೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಓದೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಿದ್ದೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಓಕೆ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ಫೇಲ್ ಆದರು. ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡೆಡ್ ವರ್ಷನ್ ಇದು ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಐ ನೆವರ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ದಿಸ್, ಮೇ ಬಿ ಯು ನೆವರ್ ನೋ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ದೆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ ಯಾರು? ಶಾಂತಿವರ್ಮನ್. ಶಾಂತಿವರ್ಮನ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಯುನಿಕ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಏನು? ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್. ಎಸ್, ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ರೂಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಫಾದರ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸರ್? ಚಂದ್ರವಳ್ಳಿ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್. All right. Some of the important capitals of Kadambas. Yavudadu? No doubt they start with Banavasi, Halasi, ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದು? Goa. Yes, they have ruled over this west coast. Let's quickly speak about their economical structure. What do you think? How was their economy? Nodi, it has been found that gold and silver coins were in very common use. What does that indicate? Prosperity. Rates of taxation were very kind. 1/6. 1/6 is a very liberal rate of taxation. All right. The reason why this was possible, probably the land revenue, the rates of taxation was reduced because by this time, is it safe to assume, the assumption is based on the previous information what we have discussed. Correct alva? Satavahanas would stabilize, Satavahanas would boost that economy from primary sector to secondary and tertiary sector na madirtare. So manufacturing as an economic activity would be increasing to a level which was not seen before anta helabodu. And plus there was a very great demand from the external world that gave a boost to the professions over here, different professionals over here. So naturally, when the economy is being diversified, there are multiple other sources of taxation. Professional tax, profession tax was introduced, right? Professional tax was introduced from, from manufacturers, individual professionals like oilmen, carpenters, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸನ್ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ they had that. And prosperity is because, no doubt about it, that they had the trading relationship with Rome, the ancient Rome. Our exports ಅನ್ನ ancient Rome ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ರೀಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. All right. And languages, last but not the least. Languages. Which languages did they follow? Oh, languages. We did not speak about art and architecture. Languages. Which language? Sanskrit. Yes, no doubt they had a Brahminical origin. Sanskrit. Mate? Yes, Kannada. Was Kannada a court language or something like that? No. Kannada was in prominent use aste. Sanskrit was the most dominant language. All right. It is very famously said that there were 3 inscriptions that were in Kannada. Rest all were in Sanskrit anta helbitu. And Halmidi inscription, considered to be the first inscription, right, was given in Kannada. Halmidi inscription. And as far as their art and architecture, what is their contribution, if anyone knows about it? About their art and architecture? Yes, did they construct, were they associated with construction of temples? Howda? What is their unique addition such that it can be expected in the exam, madam? Kadamba Vimana. Yes, temples were simple, construction of the temples were there, simple structures. And speciality is the Kadamba Vimanas. Yenado? The Shikhara, the temple mele baruvantaddu, step like. Yes, pyramidal shape. Pyramidal shaped Shikhara. Adar mele yenittirtare? Kalasha. Yes, that's a combination, that's a contribution. Right. And locations, where did they construct their temples? No doubt, prominent centers alle irodu. Yelli? Okay. Then ಯಾವ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅದು ಬನವಾಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ? ಮಧುಕೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್. ಎಸ್. ಹೆಸರಿಂದ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Believers in Shaivism. Okay. Madhukeshwar temple, Hattikeshwar temple, Kalleshwar temple, Rameshwar temple, Someshwar temple ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಶೈವಿಸಮಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. Alright. What about Jainism, sir? Jainism ಅಲ್ಲಿ temples ಇರುತ್ತಾ, ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? Basadis. They are also associated with construction of a number of Jain basadis. ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸರ್ I didn't get you, sir. Yes. Jain basadis. To be very honest, Mrigesh Varman is the ruler. Add that if you want. Mrigesh Varman built a Jain basadi at Halasi. Halasi ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಬೆಳಗಾಂ ಹತ್ರ, ಬೆಳಗಾವಿ ಹತ್ರನ? ಹಳಸಿ. ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನು. ಹಳಸಿ ಜೈನ್ ಬಸದಿ ಮೃಗೇಶ್ ವರ್ಮನ್ ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. somewhere around 400 change, 450, 460, 5th century ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಕದಂಬಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕದಂಬಾಸ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರು ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ದ ಗಂಗಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. The approximate timeline, I always say, don't remember the exact dates. It's not the Kadambas agirbodu and the Gangas agirbodu, subsequent rulers. They are the rulers who largely coincide with the Guptas. Correct alva? At the national scene, it would be the Guptas for the first time after the Mauryas, a political consolidation aguvantadu ee time. To be very honest, Guptas were ruling from 319 to 550 AD. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ದ ಗೋಲ್ಡನ್ ಏಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಎನಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ? You understand this, naturally it can be extended to Karnataka history. Why is it called as the golden age? Number one, economic prosperity. Why did they get that economic prosperity? They had an excellent share of foreign trade with that of Romans. And in fact, they declined when the Roman Empire collapsed. In fact, all these were also dependent. All these were also similarly placed. So when the Roman Empire in the West declined, they all become weak. Are you trying to understand? Economic prosperity. It was an age when there is too much of economic prosperity. It was the age for development of art and culture, literature ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ. ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಗುಪ್ತಾ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ವಿ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಇನೋವೇಷನ್ಸ್, technological innovations. There are prominent members associated with science and technology such as yaar sir, Varamihira, Bhaskara, kelidira, Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, kelidira ivella hesaru? Yes. So there were all, that is, it does not happen just out of the blue. It happens only when there is sufficient amount of attention being paid to all these things, and that happens when the rulers are free from external challenges and there is economic prosperity. The same understanding can be extended to these rulers also. Mostly 350, 340 ಇದೇ ಟೈಮಿಂದ ಈ 550 ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಈ ರೂಲರ್ಸನ್ನು ರೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದ ಗಂಗಾಸ್, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ದ ಗಂಗಾಸ್ 350 to 550 AD. Based out of the ಗಂಗಾವಾಡಿ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಗಂಗಾವಾಡಿ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ರೀಜನು? ಬರೀರಿ. ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಡೇ ಕೋಲಾರ್, ಮೈಸೂರು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್, ಮಂಡ್ಯ, ತುಮಕೂರು ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಗಂಗಾವಾಡಿ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವರ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಪೇರೂರ್, ತಮಿಳ್ನಾಡು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಪೇರೂರಿಂದ? ಕೋಲಾರ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಕೋಲಾರ್, ದೆನ್ ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಟು ತಲಕಾಡು. ಹೌದಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಹತ್ರ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಹೆಸರುಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು. ಕೋಲಾರನ್ನು ಕೋಲಾಹಳ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಮುಂಚೆ. ಕೋಲಾಹಳ, ಕೋಲಾರನ ಕೋಲಾಹಲ. ಕೋಲಾಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದೇ ಅದರಿಂದ ಹೆಸರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಲ್ವಾ ಸರ್? ಯಾ, ಪಾಟ್ರಿ. No, I'm okay. Famous rulers, please. ಯಾರು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೂಲರ್? ಯಾರು? Dadiga. Seems like you know about it a lot, huh? Very good. I really appreciate it. Okay, first ruler. Most important ruler ಯಾರು? ಶ್ರೀ ಪುರುಷನ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ ಯಾರು? ಅವಿನೀತ ದುರ್ವಿನೀತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ? ಅವಿನೀತ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಡ್. ಅವರೇ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ತಲಕಾಡು, ಗಂಗಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ತಲಕಾಡು ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯೋದು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವಿನೀತ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೇ ತಲಕಾಡು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಮತ್ತು ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಶ್ವಮೇಧ. ಸರ್ ಯಾರವರು? Next king. Before let's talk about Avinita a little bit more. Initial days ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಶ್ವಮೇಧ ಯಜ್ಞನ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಲೇಟರ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಜೈನಿಸಮನ್ನು ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಜೈನ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇವ್ರನ್ನ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ದೆನ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ದುರ್ವಿನೀತ. What about Durvinita? The most important probable area about Durvinita is that he was a very great scholar. Literary sources in the information, question barbodu, that's all. He was a very great scholar. A lot of developments have been associated with it. For example, nodi, Gunadhya's work, ಏನದು ಬೃಹತ್ ಕಥಾನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ವಡ್ಡ ಕಥೆ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ದಟ್. Vada Kathe by Gunadhya. He translates into which language? Into Sanskrit. From Prakrit. Yes, from Prakrit. Right. He writes a commentary on Kritarjaneya. What is this Kritarjaneya? Any idea about it? Bharavis, yes. Yes, no doubt. What is the relevance of Kritarjaneya? What does it speak about? Just asking out of the fight between Arjuna and Shiva. Okay. And other thing is that it is one of the Sanskrit's Mahakavya anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? There are ಮಹಾಕಾವ್ಯಗಳು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ. ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದು? Any idea about it? Okay. Just make a note, find out about it, please. Sanskrit ಮಹಾಕಾವ್ಯಗಳು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ, anyone has written a commentary on it, if anyone has spoken about it, translated it, definitely it's a possible question area. All right. And Shabdavatara, Panini's work, ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನೋ commentary ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು. So basically he's done a lot of literary activities. Yes. Shabdavatara on Panini's grammar. A lot of Kalidasa's works are also considered to be Mahakavyas. Correct alva? Kumara Sambhava, Raghuvamsa, avella. Yes. So please, literature in the barbodu. So you have to understand about all these things. Then also he was a very great an expert in fine arts. During his time, that fine arts ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ, ಯಾಕಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಫೈನ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸನ್ನು sometimes it is not always necessary that you know the exact information to answer the questions. Please try to understand that. ನಾಲ್ಕು ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ most of the times when you do not know the information, ಒಂದು ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಗೆಸ್ಸನ್ನು ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So please rely on this intrinsic understanding with who are their contemporaries, what is happening during that time, what is the nature of the economy, right? And naturally you can take an intelligent guess. That is how you actually boost your score. Correct alva? KPSC examination, KS gazetted professional examination alli I have seen the most common thing, ಒಂದು ಎರಡು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಫೂಲಿಶ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತೂ ಫಾರ್ ಶೋರ್ the answer, the objective probably behind that is you have to take an analytical path to arrive at the right answer ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. there is no doubt about it. It's not like ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನನಗೆ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡೋದು ಅಂತ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಲೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಗೋ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸನ್ನು ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ದ ಅನಾಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ nothing is should be left out ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು. ರೈಟ್, there are some questions where you have to give that intellectual respect to the evaluator, to the examiner, right? But mostly ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ there is always a way to arrive at the right answer. You just have to, ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲೂಸನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. either the clues would be history perspective ಇಂದ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು, either the clues would be in your time, the duration what has been given. For example 3rd 4th century ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಓಕೆ ಏನು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆರ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೂಸ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್. The person would not be matching to the whatever the premise has been created in the question examination. I mean, in the question, whatever the premise has been created, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧನೇ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಸತಿ, right? Or probably some religion based questions ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, some spiritual art and culture based questions ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇದು ಮಧುಕೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನಾಯಿತು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಲ್ವ, ಶೈವಿಸಮ್ ಫಾಲೋವರ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಲೈನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಶೈವಿಸಮೇ ಬಂದಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಥದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಲೇ ತೊಗೊಂಬಿಡಿ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಬೂಸ್ಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಟು 20-25 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ವುಡ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಆಲ್ರೈಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಡೀಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆನ್ ಅ ಡೈಲಿ ಬೇಸಿಸ್. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ದಟ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ತುಂಬ ಟೈಮ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕಾಂಪ್ರಮೈಸ್ ಆನ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಸಾಲ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ಡ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆಲ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್. ಸ್ತ್ರೀ ಪುರುಷ, he would defeat ನಂದಿವರ್ಮನ್, ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಪಲ್ಲವಾಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಗಂಗಾಸ್ ಡಿಫೀಟಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಡಿಫೀಟೆಡ್ ನಂದಿವರ್ಮನ್. And all the more reason it becomes very important is because this defeat or this bringing down of the Pallavan clan will pave the way for emergence of Chalukyas, right? So that is all the more on the I told you, regime changes agirbodu, decisive battles agirbodu, that was always important, correct alva? Please continue. Then he shifted the capital to Manne near Bangalore. Chalukyas would be their contemporaries, Pallavas would be their contemporaries, and also this would pave the way actually for the emergence of Rashtrakutas, mind it. Correct alva? Next. One important work of his, Gajashastra. Elephants gana tumba importance anna kotirtare. I told you already in the earlier classes what is the relevance of elephants ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. Karnataka is the state home to the largest number of elephants. Howdalva? The climatological, the ecological condition suits, right? The deciduous forest suits it. So therefore there is a lot of attention given before also. Gaja Shastra. ಯಾವ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗಜಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ? ಹೆಸರಿಂದನೇ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ದ ರೂಲರ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಇಮ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್, which is the ruler that had immense amount of knowledge about elephants, the art of taming them, the arts of utilizing them, andre it would be Sri Purusha. All right. Then among the Gangas, one very, very prominent thing that we cannot afford to miss is a very prominent prime minister, a prominent minister of the Gangas. Yaro? Chawandaraya. Please, something about Chawandaraya. Who was the king when he was the minister? Rachamalla. Before Rachamalla, yaro? Shivamara. Ibru. He would be under the both. Shivamara alla. Marasimha. I am so sorry. Marasimha, yes. Marasimha the second, and later Rachamalla. Was he a great scholar? Yes, he is associated with many works. Yavudadu? Some Sanskrit works. Charitra Sara. ಬರೀರಿ. ಚೌಂಡರಾಯ ಪುರಾಣ ಯಾವ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್? ಕನ್ನಡ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್. ಎಸ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್. ಚರಿತ್ರ ಸಾರ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್. ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪೋಯಟ್ ರನ್ನ would be during his time. ಅದೊಂದು ಕಂಟೆಂಪ್ರರಿ ಅವರು, ಅದೊಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ. he patronized prominent Kannada poet Ranna. ಮತ್ತೇನೇನು ಸರ್? ಹೌದಾ? ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂ ಹಾಂ ನೋ ಕಂಟೆಂಪ್ರರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು. ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕೂಟಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರೋದು ಟೈಮ್ ಲೈನ್? 700 ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್. ಓಕೆ. ಚೌಂಡ್ರಾಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಚೌಂಡ್ರಾಯ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 960s. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾ, ಹೌದು. 10th century ಗಂಗಾ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು. ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಇಟ್. as far as I have studied, Nagavarma and Ranna, I think so. Bidi, it's all right. Let's look up. And yes, the statue of Gomateshwara. That gives us an understanding that he was a follower of which faith? Yes, no doubt about it. Then comes the Chalukyas of Badami, isn't it? Then comes Antalla, mostly nodi, they are all coexisting. So that's the point of confusion illi Karnataka history alli. Many rulers would be ruling different parts of Karnataka together, and we would study it that iವರು ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. That is not true mostly. Anyway, the Chalukyas of Badami, again 500 to 750, the post Gupta era ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನು. ಗುಪ್ತಾಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲೈನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ರೆಜಿಮ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ, as I've already told you, right? The credit must be given to the Chalukyas of Badami to unite Karnataka for the first time. First dynasty actually that has united Karnataka under a single rule anta heltivi. Where did they rule? Yes, from Narmada to Kaveri their rule existed. All right. What is the royal emblem? Wild boar. Correct alva? So andre, what does that give me an information about? Followers of Vaishnavism. Correct alva? Because yakandre Varaha avatar of Vishnu is, what is that, is been signified. All right. Who was the founder? Yaru? Jayasimha. Jayasimha was the founder and the first ruler. Right. Again the same pattern follows. ಇವ್ರ ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾರಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಫ್ಯೂಡೇಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, and he would take the opportunity of the earlier empire becoming weak, and then naturally he would be a feudatory of ಯಾರು? ಇವ್ರ ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾರು? Kadambas. Kadambas and Gangas were contemporaries, I have told you. All right. So he was a feudatory or an officer, maybe officer under the Kadambas, which slowly gradually utilized the opportunity. Capital? Badami. All right. Important rulers ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ very quickly. Pulakeshi the first, right? Pulakeshi the first. ಬಾದಾಮಿ ಕ್ಲಿಫ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಬಾದಾಮಿ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಮೇಜಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಬಾದಾಮಿ ಕ್ಲಿಫ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಸೀನ್ ದಟ್? ಅ ಬಿಗ್ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಟಾಲ್ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್. ಯಾ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದರ ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ದೇ ಆರ್ ನೋನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರಲ್ ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎಸ್. ಸೊ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ದ ಕ್ಲಿಫ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್, ಬಾದಾಮಿ ಕ್ಲಿಫ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್, and Mahakuta pillar inscription. These are the two sources of inscription about them. Mahakuta pillar inscription. Important thing about them is that he was the one who started the rich and temples allu nodi helbekandre ಒಂದು evolutionary stages irutte. Initially the temples were cave temples. So are there any cave temples in Badami? Yeah, Badami caves irtave, right? So this is a tradition that is also associated with the Pallavas. Temple architecture ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಇದನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಓದಿ, ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜಸನ್ನು ಓದಿ. ಮಹೇಂದ್ರ ವರ್ಮನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಮಹೇಂದ್ರ ವರ್ಮನ್, ರೈಟ್? ನರಸಿಂಹ ವರ್ಮನ್, Rajasimhavarman, Nandivarman stages. Ivella evolution of temple, especially South Indian temple architecture. Not a part of Karnataka history though, but just pointing it out. Idralli cave temple, ಇವ್ರು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಕೇವ್ ಟೆಂಪಲನ್ನು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ರಥ ಟೆಂಪಲನ್ನು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು. ಬರ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರಲ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ವಿಮಾನ ವಿತ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅದೇನು ಸೌತ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ದ್ರಾವಿಡಿಯನ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಜುವಲಿ ಅದರ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ಇನ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಡಸ್ ದಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ದೆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾರು ಸರ್? ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ Kirtivarman. Okay, Kirtivarman. Let's talk about Kirtivarman. Which Kirtivarman? That's the question. Kirtivarman something bariri. Defeated the ruler of Kalinga. Defeated Harsha. Your contemporary yaro. Pushyabhuti dynasty agirtare north alli. Correct alva? South alli yaru irtare? Pallavas. That's a very important event. He defeated the Harsha, right? Pulakeshi II. Many sources of information. All right. And he had a conflict with Pallavas in the south. Gottirli, Pallavas were their contemporaries anta. Greatest, no doubt. Greatest of the Badami rulers, Pulakeshi II. Main source of information your ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಐಹೊಳೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್. ಐಹೊಳೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಯಾರು ಬರೆದಿರೋದು? ಐಹೊಳೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ರವಿ ಕೀರ್ತಿ. ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದ ನೇಮ್. ರವಿ ಕೀರ್ತಿ ವಾಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫೈನೆಸ್ಟ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್ ಪೋಯೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕಾಳಿದಾಸ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ರವಿ ಕೀರ್ತಿ, ಕಾಳಿದಾಸ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಮತ್ತು ಭರವಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್ ಪೋಯೆಟ್ಸ್, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ರವಿ ಕೀರ್ತಿ, ಸೊ ಇಸ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್. ಓಕೆನಾ? And anything very prominent event, any other prominent event that has happened during his time? Pulakeshi in the second time alli ಒಂದು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲರ್ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ. ಯಾರವನು? Yun Sang also has given a lot of plentiful of information about them. So add that. ಈ simple question ಬರ್ಬೋದು. Yun Sang visited his kingdom. And with the conflict in Pallavas, with the conflict with Pallavas, he gradually loses the territory. Howdalva? Yes. All right. Let's talk about the possible. Yeah, Chalukya army, Karnataka Bala. Howdu? Someone is pointing it over here. Yes, there is no doubt about it. Karnataka Bala anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. Art and architecture. What about the art and architecture? Which are the famous complexes? Badami, Pattadakallu, Aihole. Howda? These are the famous temple complexes, right? So no doubt about the fact that Chalukyas of Badami were great lovers of art and architecture. They are great patrons of art and architecture, and they had that kind of money to do it also. Correct alva? So important examples. Aihole ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರನಾ? Any important people who have visited there? Anyone who has visited there? ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೆನಪಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಲಾಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು? ಹೌ ಲಾಂಗ್? ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌವ್ 5 ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೇಬಲ್. ವಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಫೇಮಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಎಸ್, ಲಾಟ್ ಖಾನ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಐಹೊಳೆ, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ದುರ್ಗಾ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಉಚ್ಚಿಮಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಡಿ, ಮೇಗುತಿ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಜೈನ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಎಸ್, ಆನ್ಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. Badami is known for rocket architecture. Okay, remember that Badami rocket architecture. Caves, don't go into the details. Some books will give you the detailings of the caves. Cave number 1 alidide, cave number 2 alidide, 3 alide, 4 alide anta helbiಟ್ಟು. If you want, you can just remember the fact that cave number 4 has some Jain temples. Correct alva? So it's a very good indication that the rulers Chalukyas of Badami were tolerant and gave encouragement to the Jain thing also. Yes, cave number 4 has Jain caves, right? So most of the other caves were dedicated to whom? Dedicated to Lord Vishnu, Vaishnavism. All right. What about Pattadakallu? Of all these, who has, does any complex has UNESCO status? Pattadakallu has it? Okay, so naturally it becomes important. Pattadakallu complex, what about it? Important temples ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್, ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಟ್ಟದಕಲ್ಲು ಯಾವುದು? ಜೈನ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಪಾಪನಾಥ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಡೆಡಿಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ವಿಚ್ ಗಾಡ್? ಶಿವ? ಹೌದು. ಎಸ್, Virupaksha temple, very good. Someone says Virupaksha temple. Yes, there are so many temples. Badami caves ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಧನಾರೀಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಎಸ್, ಯು ನೋ ದ ಡೀಲ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ಇಟ್. ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಥರ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. I cannot take you through that architectural style because of the limited time. So I'm just brushing through it. All right then. Chalukyas of Badami. Done. Then comes yaro? Rashtrakutas. Where did they rule from? The Rashtrakutas rule from Malkhed. Very good. Yes. Were they feudatories of Chalukyas of Badami? Yes, that pattern followed. Taking an opportunity, they came to power. Okay, now. Kirtivarman the second and November ruler, 757 AD, last ruler. So therefore, they would defeat him, then come to power. Founder yaro? Rashtrakuta founder? Danti Durga. Very good. Capital, Malkhed. Where is this in present day Karnataka? Kalaburgi. Yes, very good. Important king, Amogha Varsha, right? Amogha Varsha the first. Famous for what? Kaviraja Marga. Yes. Kaviraja Marga. Kaviraja Marga is considered to be the first Kannada work anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದಾ? Co-authored by ಯಾರು? Sri Vijaya. One of the earliest source of information about ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಅರ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ. ಸಂಗಮ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ತಮಿಳ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ತೋಳ್ಕಾಪಿಯಂ, ಸಿಲಪದಿಗಾರಂ, ಮಣಿಮೇಗಲೈ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅರ್ಲಿಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪಣಿನಿ ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ರೈಟ್? ತಮಿಳ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಸಂಗಮ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಕವಿರಾಜ ಮಾರ್ಗಲ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. There are so many sources. Kumbakonam edition of Mahabharata. There are different editions of Mahabharata. Adrallu bardirtare. Okay na? Then, what else? Okay. Continue. Let's continue. Okay. Any important rulers? Other important rulers? Govinda. Yes. Govinda. What about Govinda? Govinda ginta munche. Let's talk about Krishna. Krishna the third. What is he known for? Yes. ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಎಲ್ಲೋರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್? ಕೈಲಾಸನಾಥ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ ಎಲ್ಲೋರ, ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಮೇಜಸ್. ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರಲ್ ಮಾರ್ವೆಲ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಆ ಟೆಂಪಲನ್ನು. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೆಷಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್? ನೆನಪೇಲಲ್ಲ. ಗ್ರೇ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್. ಅಪ್ಸೈಡ್ ಡೌನ್ ಅಂದರೆ? ಎಸ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಕಾರ್ವ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಟಾಪ್ ಟು ದ ಬಾಟಮ್ in a very complex setup. Adannu the steeper side of the western ghats alli, considering the hard rock what it is made up of, but still they have executed it. It's an architectural marvel anta consider ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ. Something that is not easy to build at the, even using modern technology, something that is not easy to build and helbidu. That's a very built by Krishna of the Rashtrakutas, no doubt about it. Then nothing much about them. Yeah, it's a rock. Yaro ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಔರಂಗಾಬಾದ್ ಹತ್ರ. It's a single rock cut temple architecture. Rock cut temple architecture, there is no doubt about it. ಮತ್ತೆ what about the religion aspects? What did they believe in? Both Vaishnavism and Shaivism is what they followed. Jainism and Buddhism is what they were tolerant and they were encouraged about it. We know with the caves architecture that we have at our disposal. All right. Then. I become conscious, so that's why. Let's wait for 2 minutes. Yes. If you can tell me something about some prominent features about the literature existing during. Have you heard about Pampa? Who is Pampa? Adi Kavi? What about Ponna? Second Kavi. Did they exist during the time of the Rashtrakutas? Yes, that's my point. Something about Pampa, please. Pampa was in the court of Arikesari. Right? It needs to be remembered. They are too big to be remembered. I mean, they are too big to be ignored, please. Right? Yen bardirtare? Any important works of Pampa? Vikramarjuna Vijaya. Very good. Yes. Bariri. He wrote Vikramarjuna Vijaya. And Adi Purana. Excellent. That is what we are looking for. Okay, na? And Adi Kavi Antar, no doubt. He was called as Adi Kavi. And Ponna, during the time of Krishna the third, lived during the time of Krishna the third. Shantinatha Purana ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಲಿಟ್ರರಿ ವರ್ಕನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಶಾಂತಿನಾಥ ಪುರಾಣ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಓಕೆ, ಟೈಟಲ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ? ಏನಾದರೂ ಟೈಟಲನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರ? ಕವಿರತ್ನ? ಕವಿರತ್ನಾಕರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಇವರಿಗೆ. ಕವಿ ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ. ಎಸ್ ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಟೈಟಲನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. All right. What else about anything that we are missing about them? Nodi, needless to say, it needs to be fast forwarded because whatever I've told you, bundle these areas depending upon what is the national rule that, I mean, whatever is the national, at the national level, the prominent empire that they are contemporaries of, the same things will be existing. Please try to categorize this time frame. I've been telling this in the classes also, that 319 to 550 AD, which era is this? The Gupta era will have a similar setup, and whoever comes during this, the Kadambas and the Gangas will have a similar, right? Religion agirbodu, architecture agirbodu, art and culture agirbodu, all these followed by 550 AD onwards is what we call it as the post-Gupta era. Post-Gupta era dalli there are phases. 550 to 751 bundle. First phase. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ? To the north would be the Pushyabhutis, Harshavardhanas. In the central India and in the south central part of India, ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ? Chalukyas. To the south ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ? Pallavas. Second phase, 750 to 1000. ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ? Rashtrakutas. Palas, Bengal. Gurjara Pratiharas in the northwest and Rashtrakutas. Bundle these things. Are you understanding this? 1000 to 1200 AD. ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? This is the time when, sir? Okay, the Rajputs in the north. Parmas agirbodu, right? The Rajputs. in the north. In the south? Yes, Kalyani Chalukyas, no doubt. Kalyani Chalukyas, Hoysalas, so bundle them. A very, 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 very prime era of architecture, temple architecture ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾರ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊಲಂಕಿ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವೇಸರ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೌತಲ್ಲಿ ದ್ರಾವಿಡಿಯನ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್, ಚೋಲಾ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೈಮ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬೃಹದೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ರಾಜರಾಜೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ. ಸೊ ಬಂಡಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ, ಇಟ್ ವೋಂಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್? ಯಾರು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು? ಹಾಂ, ದ ಪಂಪಾಸ್ಬರ್ಗ್, ಎಸ್, ಆದಿಪುರಾಣ, ಪಂಪ ಭಾರತ, ಯಾರೋ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಸ್, ತ್ರಿರತ್ನಾಸ್. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲ್ಯಾಗ್, ರೈಟ್? Okay, then what else? Please, I cannot go through all that at this point of time. Cave architecture, focus on this. Cave architecture, series of development ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕೂಟ ಟೈಮ್ ತನಕ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಚಾಲುಕ್ಯಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸಾಕು. ಯಾರು? ವಿಕ್ರಮಾದಿತ್ಯ ದ ಸಿಕ್ಸ್ತ್. ಯಾವ ಫೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ? ಈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗುಪ್ತ ಇರೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆರ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಫೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಕ್ರಮಾದಿತ್ಯ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬಾಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೂಲರ್ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 1076 AD ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ದ ರೂಲರ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹಿಮ್? ಸರ್, Vikram, what is it? Vikram era. Yeah. Vikram era. What is the thing? Exact date Vikram era andre? Vikram era start ಆಯಿತು, ಬಟ್ ಡೇಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. 1076, the times when he started it. Is it so? Okay, that's right. And during his time, any literature activities that was going on? Prominent one. Any scholars? Have you heard about Bilhana? Kashmiri author. Yes, ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನೇಶ್ವರ. ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ವಿಜ್ಞಾನೇಶ್ವರ, ಎಸ್. ವಿಜ್ಞಾನೇಶ್ವರ ಯಾರು? ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. ಮಿತಾಕ್ಷರ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದವರು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನೇಶ್ವರ. ಮಿತಾಕ್ಷರ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ವಾಟ್ ಡಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್? ಮೇಡಮ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಮಿತಾಕ್ಷರ ಬೈ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನೇಶ್ವರ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ರಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಾ ಬುಕ್. ಮೇನ್ ಲಾ ಬುಕ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಡಿರೈವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಯಜ್ಞವಾಲ್ಕ್ಯ ಸ್ಮೃತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಅದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಕಮೆಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇದು. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ದೆನ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹಿಮ್? ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, in fact, Mitakshara is a commentary. Yajnavalkya Smriti, it's a legal document again. So it's a commentary on the thing. Okay na? Matte? Sir? Next? Satyashraya yaru? Admele. What about him? He mentions? Lift irrigation for the very first time. Yes, excellent. Yes, Satyashraya. Very true. And if I'm not wrong, yeah, that's right. All right. Any other important rulers? Someshwara, remember the names. Tailapa. ಈ ತೈಲಪದ ಈ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಏನಂದರೆ ಕಲಾಚುರೀಸ್ ಅವರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಲಾಚುರೀಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ ನೋನ್ ಫಾರ್? ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗೋದು ಏನು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ? ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ವೀರಶೈವಿಸಮ್. ಪ್ರಪೌಂಡರ್ ಯಾರು? Basavanna. Belief system, you know. What did they believe in? Philosophy, you know. In line with Vedic Brahmanism or against it? Against it. Caste hierarchy na oppose ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು, widow remarriage ಅನ್ನು support ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು, correct ಅಲ್ವಾ? Yes, yes. Sir? Shakti Vishishta Advaita is the tenet of... Yeah. Exactly. No doubt about it. ಮತ್ತೆ? Sir, Kannada became a major language. Yes, Kannada became a major language a while ago. Antiquity of Kannada ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, what do you... How old is Kannada language? Is Kannada the oldest language? Tamil is the oldest language, for sure. What about Sanskrit? Sanskrit is the oldest language. Tamil is oldest language. Tamil and Sanskrit. Tamil or Sanskrit? First Tamil. Pakka na? Sir, why do you doubt it? Like you have come across anything? I thought you are from horticulture background. Okay, your optional is literature. Oh, okay, okay. Kannada literature. Very good. Then you have concluded that it is Sanskrit, that it is the oldest. Okay. But as of now, the recent most evidence that I have come across is that, you know, there has been some piece of literature inscribed, Tamil literature, that dates back to much older time than what it was originally anticipated anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Even I am of the belief that Tamil is the oldest language of all the languages. Correct alwa? Compose, if you know the language, you will understand, it's very a composed language. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ madam? You know Tamil? Yeah, it's very a composed language, nan prakara. Of course, I have been into language learning for some time, right? Of course, but whatever might be the case, beda namge aa debate beda. Where are we placed? Kannada is the second oldest language anta helboda? Hege sir? Okay, so for sure Kannada is second. First ಯಾವುದು? ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಐ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ 100 ಯುನೋ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ, ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಅಟ್ ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಹಿಮ್. ವಿ ನೋ ಹೋಮ್ ಟು ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. Just kidding, sir. Just kidding. Don't take it seriously. That's just for fun. Yes, as far as the mainframe belief is concerned, and being regional in nature, Kannada becomes the second language, oldest language, dating its antiquity to more than 2000 years old anta helbodu. Avaru ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆ Egyptian, there is a lot of external evidences that pose that Kannada was a spoken language much before than what we have anticipated anta. There is no doubt about it. Okay, it's one of the Dravidian languages. Correct alva? Indiaದಲ್ಲಿ languages have been divided into families, Dravidian families and Indo-Aryan. Okay, all right. Then yaro, what about, yes, we spoke about the Veerashaivism. Then comes the next comes yaro, a very small rule that comes in between is would be the Yadavas. Have you heard about the Yadavas? What about them? What is the speciality about the Yadavas? ಅವ್ರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಮರಾಠಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎನಿವನ್ ಹೂ ನೋಸ್ ಮರಾಠಿ ಹಿಯರ್? ನೋ. Madam, aware about? No, I'm not asking if you know Marathi. When does Marathi become popular and what about it, if you are aware about it? Post social reform movement. Yavudadu? Which social reform movement? See, what Basavanna did is also social reform. Okay. So you mean Bhakti movement? During the Bhakti movement, all right. Anyways, all right. So there are a few important rulers. I mean, let's not go into the details regarding it. So yes, after the Yadavas, Who should we speak about? Very quickly we'll speak about the Hoysalas. Yes, please tell me about Hoysalas. What about the Hoysalas? Hoysalas were from? The Malnad region. Okay. Dwara Samudra antivi, correct alva? Yes, from Dwara Samudra. They were ruling from 11th century to 14th century. Who was the founder? Sala. Yes, Sala, whatever. Emblem? Tiger, yeah. The founder killing the tiger. Haudalva? Adu one story idave. I am sure you would be knowing about it. Heli. He went for a hunt. There is no fun in that simple story. Make it interesting. You tend to make it interesting. Correct alva? Just like the story of Mayura Sharman. ಏನಾಯಿತು? ಹುಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಗುರುಗಳು ಯಾರು? ಓಕೆ, ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ಅಂತಾಯಿತು. ಅದೇ ಹೊಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಸ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ ಅಂತ, ಅದೇ ಹೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅದು. No doubt, that's the story. Even I have heard that same story, so we are together over here. All important rulers, please, very quickly. Vishnuvardhana. Yes, Vishnuvardhana. Popularly known as Bittideva anta heltivi. Vishnuvardhana is a name that has been adopted after he embraced Hinduism. Yes. Earlier he was what? Karnatakadalli prominent Nastika philosophy would be Jain. He would have Jain. And then he adopted Hinduism under the influence of whom? Ramanujacharya. Very good, excellent. Under the influence of Ramanujacharya, Hinduism anna accept ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸರ್? ಹೊಯ್ಸಳೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್. Before that, some political information. Who were his contemporaries? ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿದ್ರು? Third phase ಅಲ್ಲಿ. He had conflict with the Cholas. Yes, very good. He had a conflict with the Cholas. All right. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟೈಟಲನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಏನದು? ಕಾಂಚಿಗೊಂಡ ಅಂತ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಬಾದಾಮಿ ಚಾಲುಕ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಪಲ್ಲವಾಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ, ವಾತಾಪಿಕೊಂಡ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಟೈಟಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ದ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ಡ್. ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಟೈಟಲನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಕಾಂಚಿಗೊಂಡ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾಂಚಿ ತನಕ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಚೋಲಾಸ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಚ್ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್? ಶೈವಿಸಮ್ ಆರ್ ವೈಷ್ಣವಿಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಂದೂಯಿಸಮ್? Vaishnavism, no doubt about it. Then, ಯಾವ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇವ್ರು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್? ಬೇಲೂರು. ಯಾವ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಚೆನ್ನಕೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಮತ್ತು ವಿಜಯನಾರಾಯಣ ಟೆಂಪಲ್, ಮತ್ತು ಕೀರ್ತಿನಾರಾಯಣ ಟೆಂಪಲ್. ಕೀರ್ತಿನಾರಾಯಣ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ತಲಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್, ಎಕ್ಸಲೆಂಟ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ವೈಫ್ ಯಾರು? ಶಾಂತಲಾ ದೇವಿ. ಏನು ಯಾವ ರೂಲರ್ ವೈಫ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಸರ್? ವೈಫ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫಾಲೋವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಾನ್ಸರ್. ಓಕೆ, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್. ಸಿ, ಫಾಲೋವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಜೈನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ. ಜೈನ್ ಟೆಂಪಲನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಡಾನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಓಕೆ, ಶಿ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಡಾನ್ಸರ್. ಓಕೆ, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಶಾಂತಲಾ ದೇವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಫೈನ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೊಂದು ತುಂಬ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಹೆಸರು ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ದೆನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್? ಬಲ್ಲಾಳ, ವೀರ ಬಲ್ಲಾಳ. ಎಸ್, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಇವ್ರು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಕೇದಾರೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಹಳೇಬೀಡಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೇದಾರೇಶ್ವರ ಟೆಂಪಲನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ವೀರನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಸ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರ್ ಟು ವೇರ್? ವೇರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ? ಹಾಂ, ತಮಿಳ್ನಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರ? ಓಕೆ, ಮೇ ಬಿ. ಆಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಸ್ ಮೈ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಗೋಸ್, he would have a conflict with the Pandyas of Madurai. Pandyas of Madurai ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ನಡೆದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಕಾಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ನಾಟ್ಯ ಸರಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಹೊಸಪೇಟೆ. ಎಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ ಯಾರು? ಅಗೇನ್ ವೀರಬಳಾಲದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ರೂಲರ್. ಸಾಕು ಬಿಡಿ, ಸಾಕು ಬಿಡಿ. ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್, ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಹೊಸ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಈ ಟೈಮ್, what is the time? 1191. What happens? Remember this date. The first battle of Tarain. 1192. Second battle of Tarain. In this second battle of Tarain, Prithviraj Chauhan this was a conflict between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad of Ghori. Howda? Correct alva? So this gave an opportunity to the powers from the west, northwest to enter into and settle. From here onwards, what starts? The Delhi Sultanate. ಸ್ಲೇವ್ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಲೇವ್ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿ ವುಡ್ ಲೀವ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ದ ಅಫೇರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕುತುಬುದ್ದೀನ್ ಐಬಕ್. ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಕುತುಬ್ ಮಿನಾರನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಟ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. ವಿತ್ ದೆಮ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೀಚರ್ಸ್, ಸೂಫೀಸ್. ಆ ಸೂಫಿ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕವರೆಗೂ ಸೇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಸೂಫಿ ಸೇಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯಾರು? ಖಾಜಾ ಬಂದೆ ನವಾಜ್, ಗೇಸು ದರ್ರಾಜ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು, ಕಲಬುರಗಿದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ದರ್ಗಾ ಇದೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್. ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆನ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಹಿಯರ್ ಆನ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಟ್ರೇಡ್, ಫಾರಿನ್ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಅ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಹಿಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್. ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಎಂಪೈರ್ಸ್, ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ರೂಲರ್ಸ್, because of their problematic situation in Central Asia, South Central Asia, they have been looking towards the east. Ill bartare for stability, and they get that stability over here and they stay over here. They decide to stay over here. And when a new empire and a new dynasty is establishing itself, they will always be in need of resources. Correct alva? So ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಗೋ ಇಂಟು ಯಾವ ರೀಜನ್ಸನ್ನು ರಿಚ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ರೀಜನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ವೆಲ್ತ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬನ್ನಿ ವೆಲ್ತ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ದೇ ಆರ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ capturing the affairs of the North India. They will look towards capturing the South. So the story from here onwards would be always, ಅದೇ ಆಂಬಿಟಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಾಫಿಕಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾರಿಯರ್ಸಿಂದ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಶೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ kept that cultural aspect of the South Indian culture intact would be the Vijayanagar, the rulers of the Vijayanagar. Howda? Different rulers of the Vijayanagar. I mean, Vijayanagar dynasty, it's just like again Magad region. ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ವಿಜಯನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟೀಸ್ ಬರ್ತವೆ? ಸಂಗಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ ಯಾರು? ದೇವರಾಯ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹಿಮ್ ಅ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್. ಸಂಗಮ, ಸಲುವ, ತುಳುವ, ಅರವಿಡು. ತುಳುವ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್? 1500s. Also to be remembered, when you study in detail about all these things, I don't have that liberty to go through this in detail. When you study about this, all these things in quite great detail degree, appreciate the fact that from the north, the Islamic influence, from the east, the Islamic influence from Arab, and a new challenger comes to the forefront. From 1498, who are they? The colonial powers. The Portuguese ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಲೇಟರ್ ಡಚ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ದ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ದ ಫ್ರೆಂಚ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದೇ ಆರ್ಡ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್ ಲುಕಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್? ದೇ ಆರ್ ಲುಕಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಆಸ್ ಮರ್ಚೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸನ್ನು ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಲುಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬೈ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್. ರಾ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸನ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಇದನ್ನು ರಾ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಚೀಪರ್ ರೇಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಿವ್ ಅದೇನು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಿವ್ ಒಂದು ಕಮೋಡಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಬೈ ಥ್ರೂ ಸಿ ರೂಟ್ಸನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನನ್ನು ರಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಗ್ರಾಜುಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ದೇ ಗಿವ್ ಅ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಡೀಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಟು ದ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಎಸ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಅ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ಲೇ. ಈ ಬಹಾಮನಿ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಲೇಟರ್ ಆ ಬಹಾಮನಿ ಕೊಲಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಅದೇನು ದ ಶಾಹೀಸ್, ದ 5 ಶಾಹೀಸ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ತವೆ ಅವರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿಜಯನಗರದವ್ರು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ? ವಿಜಯನಗರ ಕೊಲಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ? ಬ್ಯಾಟಲ್ ಆಫ್ ತಾಳಿಕೋಟೆ, ಅ ಮ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟಲ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾರ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ? 1526 ಆದಮೇಲೆ ದ ಮುಘಲ್ ಎಂಪೈರ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಅನ್ಸರ್ಟನಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಯಾರೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ನಾರ್ತ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಏಷ್ಯಾದಿಂದ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ಮೆಸೇಜ್, ಓಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು? ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ವೆಲ್ತ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗೋದು? ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ವೆಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬನ್ನಿ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ತೊಗೊಂಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ಬರು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ವಾಪಸ್ಸು. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್? ಕೀಪ್ ದಟ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್. ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ವಿತ್ ದಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸನ್ನು ನೀವು ಓದಿ. ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟಾಗಿ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರಲ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಇಂಡೋ ಸಾರ್ಸನಿಕ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟೂಮ್ಸ್, ಡೋಮ್ಸ್, ಮಿನಾರೆಟ್ಸ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಅದೇ ಬಹಾಮನಿ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆದಿಲ್ ಶಾಹೀಸ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಾರಿದ್ ಶಾಹೀಸ್, ಬೀದರ್ ಶಾಹೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವ್ರೇನು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಒಂದೊಂದೆರಡು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರೋದು. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಸತಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನೋ ಮೋರ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾ, ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಏರಿಯಾ, ಬಟ್ ಎಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಟಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೈಟ್? ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಜುವಲಿ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಸೂರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೊಲೋನಿಯಲಿಸಮ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ ಕೊಲೋನಿಯಲಿಸಮ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಹೋಮ್, ಎಸ್, ಹೈದರ್ ಅಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈ ವಿಜಯನಗರ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲೈನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ? ದ ನಾಯಕಾಸ್. ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರು? ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಫ್ಯೂಡೇಟ್ರೀಸ್. ದ ನಾಯಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ, ದ ನಾಯಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆಳದಿ, ದ ನಾಯಕಾಸ್ ನಾಡಪ್ರಭೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯಲಹಂಕ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒಡೆಯರ್ಸ್. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಫ್ಯೂಡೇಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಅ ವೀಕನಿಂಗ್ ಎಂಪೈರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಕ್ಲೇಮ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ರಾಜ್ಯ would be whatever the remains would be there, would be in great deal of trouble, such that the rulers who claimed independence, Odayars especially, would not be able to continue. A necessity would be felt that it would require a military leadership ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? ಯಾರು? ದಲ್ವಾಯಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ಯಾರು? ನಂಜರಾಜಯ್ಯ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇವರಾಜ. ಅವ್ರೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಹೈಯರ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಟು ಸಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಇಟ್. For that, what is required? Military leadership, one who can capture territories, bring territories, more and more territories to the Mysore state ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಹೈದರ್ ಅಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ನಾಯಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ, ನಾಯಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆಳದಿ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಗ್ರಾಜುವಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಸಾಲಿಡೇಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ಮೈಸೂರು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಯೂಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಕಮ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಹೂಮ್? ವಿತ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಪವರ್. ಯಾರವರು? ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್. ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೋಬೇಕು? ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಸ್ ದರ್ ಎನಿ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಪವರ್ ದಟ್ ಕುಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್? ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಫ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ಗೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಯೂಟ್, ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೆಂಚನ್ನು ಕಿತ್ತು ಬಿಸಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಿಂದ. ಕಾರ್ನಾಟಿಕ್ ವಾರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬೈ 1760s ಫ್ರೆಂಚ್ ವುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೂಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? 1763 ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಂಗ್ಲೋ ಕಾರ್ನಾಟಿಕ್ ವಾರ್ ಮುಗ್ದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವುಡ್ take a revenge. Who is the most powerful? Who can challenge Mysore state? Under whom? Hyder Ali and later Tipu Sultan ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಂಗ್ಲೋ ಮೈಸೂರು ವಾರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್? ವೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾಟ್? ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಕಿಲ್ಡ್? ಹೂ ಒನ್? ಹೂ ಲಾಸ್? ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಾಬಬಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮಿನರಿ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಯಾವ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಬ್ಯಾಟಲ್ ಎಂಡೆಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಟ್ರೀಟಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಿ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಟೆಡ್. ವಿ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಇನ್ ಅನ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಟೆಡ್ ವೇ. There were other regional powers also that were trying to proclaim their dominance. ಯಾರದು? ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ದ ನಿಜಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈದರಾಬಾದ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಮರಾಠಾಸ್ ಒಂದು ಕನಸನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಮುಗಲ್ಸನ್ನು ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಪವರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋವಂಥದ್ದು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಅಲೈ ವಿತ್ ದ ಮೈಸೂರು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಗೋ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಟು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಸಚ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್? ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಗ್ರಾಜುವಲಿ 1799, by 1799 what happens? They would enforce subsidy. They would come into a conclusion that yes, Tipu Sultan is one of the most important prominent danger that we are going to face in India and needs to be eliminated ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ರಿಚರ್ಡ್ ವೆಲ್ಲೆಸ್ಲಿ, ಆರ್ಥರ್ ವೆಲ್ಲೆಸ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎಲಿಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್, ಗಿವನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದ ಪವರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಹೂಮ್? ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ದ third, 1799 to 1868 he would be the ruler, correct alva? And recently I have been telling about all these things, correct alva? Political, after forging subsidiary treaty, subsidy alliance, a ruler has nothing much to do. That was the case for most of the princely states in India. The most of the princely states in India who had accepted this subsidiary treaty, almost all, correct alva? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. So naturally they devoted their time into welfare, art and culture. Krishna Raja Odayar the third is considered to be the, yes, ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಲಿಟ್ರರಿ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರೈಟ್, ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಗೇಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್, ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟು ದ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್, ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್, ಲೈಬ್ರರಿಗಳನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಯಂಗಳನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಾಲೇಜಸ್, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಫೋಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಪಾನ್. ಐ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್? ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಆಗೋದೇನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್. ಯಾಕೆ 1830s ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯು, ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥ್ರೆಟ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? 18th ಸೆಂಚುರಿಯಿಂದ ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಟ್ರೇಡ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಒಂದು ಮೊನೋಪಲಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ, ಒಂದು ಮೊನೋಪಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಔಟ್ ಕ್ರೈ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್. ಸೊ ಟರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ದ ಮೊನೋಪಲಿ ಆಫ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಅವರು ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಪ ಏನೇನೋ ಒದಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಸಮ್ಹೌ ಬೈ 1833 ಇಟ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸೈಡೆಡ್, 1828ಇಂದಲೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿ ಶುಡ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಲ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ 1600ಇಂದ 1830s 1820 ತನಕ ಅವನೇನು ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಹಂಗೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಗಿವ್ ದೆಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ನೌ ಆನ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಫೇರ್ಸ್, ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಟೋಲ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇಂಪೋಸಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆದಷ್ಟು ಟೆರಿಟರೀಸನ್ನು ಅನೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದ ಮೋರ್ ಟೆರಿಟರೀಸ್, ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಟೆರಿಟರೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಇವು, ಅವ್ರ ಟೆರಿಟರೀಸನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಅನೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಪೆಟ್ಟಿ ರೀಸನ್ಸನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿನ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ಸ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇಫ್ ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಮೇಲ್ ಬಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಹೇರ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಅವೇ. ಮಿಸ್ ಗವರ್ನೆನ್ಸ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಇವ್ರು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಏನು ಮಹಾ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ವೆಲ್ಫೇರ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಪೆಟಿ ರೀಸನನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 1830 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಗರ ರೆಬೆಲಿಯನ್ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಲೀಡರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೂದಿ ಬಸವಪ್ಪ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಒಪ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಯುವರ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ದಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಸ್, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಸ್ ಫೇಮಸ್? ಬೋರಿಂಗ್, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕಬನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ಎಸ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೂಸಿಂಗ್ಟನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಫೇಮಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಯಾರು? ಕಬನ್, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕಬನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬೋರಿಂಗ್, ಲೂಯಿಸ್ ಬೆಂಥಮ್ ಬೋರಿಂಗ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನು, ಯಾಕೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ, ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ಇದೇ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸು ಸ್ನ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್, ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿದವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ವೆಲ್ಫೇರ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಒಂದು ಫಂಡನ್ನು, ಗ್ರಾಂಟನ್ನು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ, 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ 1813ಇಂದನೇ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಾಲೇಜಸ್, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್, ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಕಟ್ಸಿದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದೇ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ಇಟ್, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಫ್ರೇಮ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಟಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಮೆಮರಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ. ಯು ನೀಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಿಲೈ ಆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೆಮರಿ ಇಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆಲೂರು ವೆಂಕಟರಾವ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಏನು, ಹಾಂ, ನಾವು ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸ್ವದೇಶಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಔಟ್ ಕ್ರೈ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಲ್ಲ? ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ನಾವು ಏನು ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಮಗೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಇವರು ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದರೆ, ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಅದರ್ ರೀಸನ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ವರ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ಅಂದರೆ ದ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರೀಸನ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಮೈಸೂರು. ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ವರ್ ಅಲೈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರಿಟನ್. ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ದೇ ಲೆಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್? ಸೊ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಲೇಟರಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ 1920s ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಒನ್ ರೀಸನ್ ವೈ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ 1924ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಫ್ರೀ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಬೆಳಗಾಂ ಸೆಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಫ್ರೀ ಇದ್ರು ಅವಾಗ, ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಫ್ರೀ, ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ ಎನಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಈ ರೀಜನನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಮೊಬಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಓನ್ strategies, he sows that seeds of nationalism over here and whatnot, and Karnataka will be very active participant in non-cooperation movement ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕ್ವಿಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಲೀಡರ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ. ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನಫ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟುಡೇ. ಸರ್, ಏನಂತೆ? ಹೌದು, ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನು. ಹಾಂ, I see, that's all again I told you, right? History has become a very political tool. ನಂಜೇಗೌಡ ಮತ್ತು ಇವರುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ದ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ದ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್, ದ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹೂ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕಿಲ್ಡ್, there are multiple sources that says, it was unintentional ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಪಿಕ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. Tipu Sultan is such a ruler that he would always be on the field, always. So anticipating that, yes, 1799 ಒಂದು ಶ್ರೀರಂಗಪಟ್ಟಣ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತುಂಬ ಬೇಗನೆ ಅವರು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸಿಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಸಚ್ ದಟ್ ಸೋಲ್ಜರ್ಸ್ ವುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇವನ್ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್, he would be killed. Accidentally, if they would known he was the ruler ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಪರ್ಸ್ನಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಆರ್ಕೈವ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ದ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹೂ ಕಿಲ್ಡ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ದ ಮ್ಯಾನರ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಗೇಮ್. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬಿಡಿ. I would have spoken about it a lot, but